shack at. The bottles getting nifty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, September 29th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. A lot of glory yesterday. A lot of glory. Put out the old Leche shirt just to celebrate it. Just to celebrate it. Brought out the old goddamn Leche shirt just to celebrate it. And I needed it. Ooh, it felt good, man. Although it should have been 7-0 plus 7.19 units. Those of you on Jacksonville State, I'm glad for you. I'm happy for you. Congratulations on your successes. I pushed that bet, but 6-0, baby. And the Orioles cashed the division at plus 525. Ooh-wee! I needed that! Oh, God. Take the pressure off. Thank you. Ooh, just all the knots are out of my back. Oh, God. Right on. And it was perfect fucking timing. Perfect timing. Friday's my in and out day. Jose had a big day. I let Jose know that I did make a very sizable addition to my Blue Jays action yesterday. 6-0 Bassett. You know that Matt Randall, star of the Taint play today, taught him perfectly. Don't you? 200 innings for the first time in his career. What a monster. What a fucking monster. It was glorious. Orioles -1 plus 119 cashed. Jose cashed Orioles first 5 in full game. Blue Jays first 5 -0.5 and full game -1. Cash. Jose and I cashed together on the Royals. Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, rivalry game, 100 miles of hate, under cashed easily. Temple, Tulsa, both coming off low-scoring games, easily went over. And then, Sam Houston pushed. It is what it is. Justin McAvee said he partied last night and cashed. I love it. Ronnie and Bergie went 3-0 last night in college football. You got the backdoor cover by Jacksonville State. Those of you who did, that's great. I'm happy for you. Seriously. When it was 28-20, I thought I was in the clear with that last touchdown, but whatever. It is what it is. Happy for you guys. And the last MLB spreadsheet play today in MLB, Ron Crawford, right here. Right here. Looking forward to NHL. What a guy he is. He brings so much to the show. So are you not dropping them in the playoffs? Because if this is the case, which is totally legit, then I would like to I'll put out a thing on Twitter thanking you for all your hard work. There's Tory Coker, Cubs Marlins parlay. There's a pimp slap in the house. Says pimp slap play today cashes with ease. Smash live card last night. Heating up. Vincent Contreras says pimp hand strong. Oh no. Man. Sorry, TJ. All my bullshit glory goes away quickly. TJ says best man's wife passed away unexpectedly on Monday. So being out of town away from capping. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. Wow, that changes the dynamic of life quickly, Wow. That's awful news. My heart goes out to your best man, who must be a great guy if he's your best man. I'm so sorry to hear that, and it's so important that you can be there for the family and for your best man. And damn, TJ. Life can be unrelenting, and just throw curveballs that go right to the fucking jugular. So I'm really sorry to hear that, man. thinking of you and thinking of your friend, and that's tough, man. Sorry to hear that. Whew. Sammy Culmer, Serious Business, Tori Coker, Brett Kinney in the house, Jay Smooth, NJ Stryker, Slatsy, 5-1 night for Slatsy. Got the Bombers -6.5. Yeah, now it's up 7.5. Even that doesn't make sense. We'll talk to Bobano about that, but even that 7.5 is, I mean, shouldn't this be 10? I haven't moved on it. North Ender, Dom Play, Jeffrey Moore, Nate Dog 420 in the house. Yeah, Dom Play. I'm sorry that it was a tough one. It was us against the world with Sam Houston. We were right and wrong. That happened. AOD Von Polo. Congratulations to the great city of Baltimore. It's their first 100-win season since when? When was it? God, it was a long time ago. Can anybody pull it out? 1990? I don't know. A long time ago. Shout out to the great city of Baltimore. Saved my ass. Rocco Rogers, Monster Night in NFL and MLB. Justin McElvey cashed 500 on the Goff interception. Jeffrey Moore. Fly White Mike on the Oregon State under big. I like that look. JT in the house. Lucas Ryan, Jay Peasy. Jay Peasy, the first sound that you hear when this show starts, and I love it. Michael Johnson, Red Girl. NJ Stryker, Jeffrey Moore. Look at our guy, Justin McElvey, gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. What a guy Justin McElvey is. Star of the Stacks play today. Patrick Joyce catching it. I love it. Sammy Culmer in the house says, take a shot. Probably should. I probably should take a shot. But, my mom, I did pick her up. I mean, she's seen me booze like crazy, but... Okay, how about this? How about we'll get Bobano on. I think I got something up there. I will. I should, right? I should. There's our guy Akbar Saloev in the house. 79.80? 79 was the last time? Jesus. 1980? Good God. Jesus. Wow. Great to see all of you guys. Joseph Thompson says, hello from Puerto Rico. Man, Puerto Rico in the house. I love it. Reclaim James Asseter still strong. Regular season. Okay, so you'll continue. Okay, good. Because I'd like to wait till it's all said and done. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Troy Torrance. What a call with the Lions. How hot is this capper? Thank God he's one of us. Troy Torrance getting that fucking money. Jose, will you join me for a second? You climbed out of the gutter, did you not?
I mean, 3-0 is fine. 3-0 is fine.
God. We're going to lose it right there. I was like, oh,
no. No, 3-0 is fine, but, we're still climbing out. It's okay.
Maybe we never get out, but could we at least for one day we poked our head up? Right?
For one day, there was glory.
We looked around, and I'm going to go grab. I got to have a shot. I got to celebrate. Yeah. Take over for a sec.
Do your thing. Yeah.
I'll be right.
I'll bring on our good friend and capper that's going to cap the rest of the card for us as well with us. Good old Bobano joining us on the program. Bobano, it's nice to see you. CFL. We got some college football, maybe some NFL at the end, some MLB. A hell of a schedule here, Bobano. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm giving one-word answers for the MLB portion of this show today as far as the analysis goes. With
I don't believe you.
I'm not sitting here for 3 hours talking MLB. I can tell you that right now. But other than that, it's great to be here. And congratulations to you, Jose, on breaking your way out of a little slump. It's I heard was a pretty bad slump. So
you can just call it a slump. Slump is fine. Not much wisers in this deluxe bottle. But yes, Jose and I combined to go 9-0 yesterday. 9-0. 9-0. And yes, we needed it badly. Fucking badly. 9-0. 9-0. Oh, God, we needed that shit. But you know what? This is to you guys, man. You stick with us through the highs and the lows, and it means the world. So thank you for always having our back. We have nothing without you guys. So to everybody in the chat, thank you. 9-0 from Jose and Jimmy. Goddamn, we needed that shit. Goddamn.
Yeah, Jimmy with a 6-0 yesterday. So good stuff. Good to see it. I was on the Lions as well. So
no pressure, Bobano, but we only give out winners on this program now. So
I know luck. No losses allowed. It's a no loss zone. No loss zone here on Betting with the Bag. And like I said, Jimmy, I know we have long shows on Friday, but I'm going to be picking up the pace when we go through MLB because I don't have many bets on the MLB card. With all due respect, I love being on this show, but I'm sitting around for 3 hours to talk. What is it here? Padres, White Sox. You know
what? Why don't you just do football? Why don't you just do football? You can bounce.
Yeah,
because I can't mail it in, Bobano, but you can bounce.
Yeah, no, I'll stay for as long as I can. Okay, yeah, and I'll get into at least a good portion of the MLB card. Yep.
Sure, we can tighten things up, but I can't just
I know
fuck it over. You know,
you do your due diligence. I respect that.
Last night I was up till 3:45 in the morning, and I woke up at 6:45 in the morning. So I can't.
A couple really good spots on the card for MLB actually,
but I can't.
They're obvious spots, but you know what I mean.
I know, I feel you, but I can't. I just if I'm gonna barely sleep, so that I can deliver info to
That's the way it should be, in depth, extensive.
No pressure. You can bounce whenever you'd like. All right, let's get to work here. We start in Canadian football, 8 p.m. Eastern. A very interesting spot here, Bobano, with the Argonauts choosing to rest Chad Kelly, and this makes a ton of sense from hiding your plan for the Grey Cup final. I get it. It sucks for football fans who wanted to see how Winnipeg would bounce back because they've been a very Jekyll and Hyde squad this year. So Cameron Dukes, we saw how bad he looked in Calgary. He's got to look better than this. And even this line at 7.5 doesn't really make sense. Doesn't really make sense to me. So let's talk it out here and see what your plan is. And I imagine that you were ahead of everything on this. And that's what you'll tell us, that you got, a much, much better line than that what is available right now. So let's get to work. These Argos coming off an impressive 29-14 win at home over the Tiger Cats. Right now we're sitting at 7.5. That 7.5 is juiced at Pinnacle to -116. I mean, 8s will be here any minute. -120s at other spots. From a total standpoint, we opened up at some offshores at 50.5. Pinnacle opened up at 50.5. It stayed at 50.5 until Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning at 10:30, it moved to 48.5. Let's get over to. I guess I gotta shut down the cash. There's no cash for Canadian football. What the hell am I talking about? I am a lack of sleep, and I'm only making it through these this morning and this week through just pure adrenaline. And I needed that money bad last night, and I got it. So that's so there will be mistakes. I'm gonna be misreading things and shit like that, but we got Bobano to keep us straight. Average margin of victory for the Argos 12.4. Average margin of victory for the Bombers 11.1. But every time the Bombers do something monstrous, it happens at home where they're 6-1 straight up and against the spread, and they go on the road and lay an egg. And we saw that Banjo Bowl. They kicked the shit out of the Roughriders, dominate them in every facet of the game, and then head out to Hamilton in week 15 and lose straight up. And it was a huge game for the Ticats, and it has me on the Ticats tomorrow. And we'll see how that goes. The Argos are rotating rest here. Cameron Dukes was 8 of 15 for 63 yards and interception when we saw him play. And that was for 2.5 quarters, almost 3 quarters of play. The Bombers have Zach Caleros, who is a monster, and Brady Oliveira, who is a tank, who leads the league in rushing. And is 7.5 too cheap? Should people be hammering this right now. I mean, the fact that it's 7.5, and I imagine it'll be 9 or so by the time this kicks off, but it should be more. And I know that you gave us great statistics on the teams out of a bye and how well they've been doing. I have this bias of every team coming out sloppy in the first half. And take it away though for us, Bobano. Here we go. Our first game, 8 p.m. Eastern, Argos Bombers.
The only hesitation I would say about jumping on Winnipeg now is it was -2.5 at the beginning of the week. Then the Chad Kelly news came out that he would be rested and not play in this game, and it immediately jumped to 6.5, 7. And it's pretty much stayed there since. And now it's actually trickled up even further to 7.5. And now we find out yesterday when the depth charts come out for this game that it isn't just Chad Kelly out for this game. Jamal Peters, one of the best cornerbacks for the Argos, is out. Winton McManus, who is an impact linebacker for the Argos. If anyone watches the Argos and their defense, you know how important Winton McManus is. He's been the leader of this team on that side of the football. 70 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions. He had a pick 6 last week against Taylor Powell and the Ticats. I mean, he is that much of a difference maker defensively for the Argos. So Winton McManus is out. Sean Oakman, who's a good pass rusher on the D-line, he's out for this game as well. Now, AJ Ouellette was rested last week. He is available to play tonight. So it looks like Ouellette will play for the Argos, but they're resting a bunch of other key cogs now, especially on defense with no Oakman, with no McManus, with no Jamal Peters. And in addition to that, of course, Chad Kelly being out. And if anyone saw Cameron Dukes' one extensive duty of starting in a CFL game, it was the one game the Argos lost this year in Calgary. When Chad Kelly got injured, Cameron Dukes came in, and to say he was ineffective would be an understatement. 5 for 13, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. The offense just did not move the football against Calgary. And think now of how bad Calgary has been. The Calgary is one of the worst teams in the CFL this season. And Cameron Dukes came in and struggled against that team when Kelly was injured. Now, he will benefit from having a full week of practice, no question. He'll have the reps with all the first-team offense. That will help. But will it help enough? I'm not so sure. To me, this is a writings-on-the-wall game. To me, this is not one of those deals where, oh, my power ratings say Toronto should only be a 6-point dog. I have to take Toronto now plus 7.5. Not in this spot. Not when you see a clear display of disinterest in this football game from the Toronto Argos, resting the players they're resting, and not when you consider the Winnipeg angle. Off a bye week, at home where they've been eviscerating teams all season, outside of the very first home game they had against BC, or the second home game they had against BC, their only loss. They've been eviscerating teams at home, annihilating teams at home ever since then. Off a bye week, off a loss that didn't sit well with Winnipeg on the road against Hamilton. And oh yeah, the topper? Oh yeah, who beat them in the Grey Cup last year? Toronto Argonauts. First meeting since that November Grey Cup loss to this Toronto Argonauts team. So to me, it doesn't matter where this number goes. This is not a spot I have any interest in the Toronto side, period.
Well, so you're saying at 7.5 minus 110, I have it queued up here to send in that it should just be bet. It's just regular unit. Don't go crazy on it.
Don't go crazy. I actually think they win by double digits. Like, when's the last time they have not won by double digits at home?
Rod
like, that home field has just been absolutely, like, look at these recent home games. 24-11 against Calgary, 28-14 against Edmonton, 47-17 against Montreal, 50-14 against BC, 51-6 against Saskatchewan. I mean, they've been just absolutely destroying teams at home. You know, that's why I think you can go ahead and lay the 7.5 in this game. In fact, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show that I'm willing to do it. Why not everybody else? Like, I'm going to make this official, even though this is not the number I have. This is not the number I have. But we can only bet the numbers that are widely available at the time of the show. And that being said, I'm comfortable still laying north of a touchdown here with Winnipeg in this game, making it official for a show play status. So let's do that. Minus 7.5, minus 110 at Bet365.
Yeah, I just bet it there. Sent it in. Well, I sent it into my local, but he, of course, uses that. Okay, I just did it. But I just bet a regular unit on it.
Don't go crazy. You don't know, you don't put the mortgage on it or anything.
Well,
maybe you go something a little closer to putting the mortgage on it if you got minus 2.5 very early in the week. But even -6.5. I didn't even get -2.5. I got -6.5. That's the number I got. So I didn't even get the best of it. So, but still, I got it below at least the 7. But even 7.5, like I think they win by double digits. I do.
I had 600 on the Jays last night, and that for me, that's I got to stay within my bankroll. 600 was a lot for me, but something after being shut out twice in a row and seeing Luke Weaver on the hill and Chris Bassett, JP Crawford and Chris Bassett, I think, are my favorite players right now in the world. And so this is just a regular spot here. And we have Rod's Wacky taking -13.5, says Winnipeg wins by 14 plus. I love it. Bobano. We are off and racing. I cherish these Fridays. We will speed it up though. And we will speed it up. 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Saskatchewan Roughriders, BC Lions, BC Place Stadium. And let's get to work. One thing, the reason these guys, Bobano here, that run with us, they stick by us through thick and thin. And so when I'm sitting there at 3 a.m, I gotta have every single one of these games capped. And I sent Bobano a text message at 2 a.m. and he replied, I know he's up all night capping these games too. So
you just got me before I went to sleep. That's usually when I go to sleep, 2:30. Yeah.
Well, but I have a best bet in college football that I'm adding for tomorrow on the card. But let's get to work here. We have Saskatchewan at BC Lions, BC Place Stadium. These Roughriders lost 3 straight. They're 2-5 on the road. Lions 10-4, 5-1 at home. I wish we were talking about Mason Fine. It's a First Nations Day for us in Canada tomorrow, and I'll be at the racetrack. I'll be at Woodbine tomorrow in orange, and my daughter's in her orange shirt that says "Every Child Matters," and I wish Mason Fine. I just, goddamn, I don't know why. North Texas. I love little quarterbacks. I don't know what it is, but clearly Jake Dolegala at 6'6" is the quarterback that you probably envision if you're creating an offense. And he's been very good, much, much better than I imagined. This total opened up at 47.5. It's up to 49. From a spread scenario here, we are sitting with the Lions at -10 and -104. I knew that the Lions were dangerous in Edmonton last week. And just like the Bombers, the Lions bounce back. They keep receipts, like Primetime would say. The Lions were upset 34-29 as 10-point favorites when they faced the Roughriders in Regina. And they were way down. They came way back. And so there's this storyline of them remembering that game and taking it out here on the Roughriders. Saskatchewan comes in off their third straight loss, 36-28 setback at home to Ottawa. Dolegala has changed this offense. As much as I talk about Mason Fine, he's changed this offense. They've been scoring, except for the one game in Winnipeg when, a very talented team was angry. You don't poke bears, Lions coming off that 37-29 victory at Edmonton. Vernon Adams is being much better than I imagined him being. And I was wrong. I was wrong. I really thought that after all the years I've watched him, I didn't think he could excel as a quarterback over, an 18-game schedule. And he's still been injured for 3 games, but he is being smarter. And he's still, throwing a bunch of interceptions, which I didn't think he would do. I thought that he was a more conservative style who would use his legs when he needed to, but he hasn't been. He's been electric. Now it hurts that Dominique Grimes hasn't been in the lineup, and Dominique Grimes is back tonight. But the question, Bobano, is we know what the Roughriders defense is. It's terrible. 30.4 points per game allowed, 34.8 in the last 8 games. And we know that the BC Lions defense started out spectacular, dominant, and has completely fallen apart. 30.6 points per game they've allowed over the last 7. And total moving towards the over. My bets are on Saturday, although I did move on the Bombers. Yes. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Roughriders Lions.
Yeah, this one's interesting. BC's not that automatic. We take them at home anymore. That's the one thing that's worrying me now, laying 10 in this game, is that the Lions, you look at their home games, they came out incredibly flat against Ottawa, and they were very fortunate with Ottawa collapsing down the stretch just to win that game, 41-37, and they were laying a big number there, 9.5. Against Hamilton, they lost outright, as 10.5-point home favorites before that. So the last couple of home games, they haven't played 4 quarters of football. At the Hamilton game, they were awful start to finish. The Ottawa game, they were awful for more than 3 quarters before they finally found their game. So, and now look, Saskatchewan is probably, in the Hamilton, well, probably a little bit better than Hamilton, certainly better than Ottawa, although they got beat by Ottawa last week, Saskatchewan. But it's Saskatchewan on the road. I'm not taking Saskatchewan either, even getting 10. Dolegala's not been as good on the road, although finally, and Dolegala had not played well in any road game prior to last week against Ottawa, where I did think he played better, but he still made some mistakes, hung on to the ball too much, and he's definitely played his best football at Mosaic Stadium. That being said, he did play better. It's probably his best road game, even though they lost at Ottawa last week, 36-28. It looks like Saskatchewan might get a couple key returnee on defense, and they need all the help they can get. Jaden Dahlke's a very good safety, and it looks like he's going to be back for this game. He's someone that's got 22 tackles on the season and an interception, so that's going to help the secondary a little bit. But will it help them enough? Because that BC offense, man, and the receivers that they can throw at you, and now they got the receiving core fully healthy again. Whitehead and Rhymes is back now, and Keon Hatcher and McGinnis, and go on down the list. Jovan Katoy. I mean, there's just too many receivers to deal with for this Saskatchewan team, and they're getting ripped apart through the air. And I know Dahlke back will help, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to really contain all these weapons that BC has in the passing game. So I see BC scoring. That's the one thing they do, especially at home. These home games for BC, the points they put up, 27 41. The Hamilton game really was an anomaly. Other than that, 41-37 in their last 2 home games, 37-34 their last 2 road games. They've scored 34 plus in 3 straight games. They should move the ball here against this bad Saskatchewan defense. And this Saskatchewan defense, you're right, they've been awful. 36, 36, 51, 30. That's what they've allowed in their last 4 games. Just the defense is completely evaporated for the Riders. I do think, though, Saskatchewan can move this ball a little bit here. Like I said, Dolegala played a little bit better. His best road performance by far last week in Ottawa. And this BC defense, not the same shutdown defense they were early in the season. BC's last 5 games, they've given up 34, 30, 25, 37, 29. So they're giving up big points. So you know what I'm on in this game. That's over the total. It was a pretty simple, straightforward decision to make. And thanks to TonyBet, an Ontario book, they got an off-market number, so I'm going to pounce on that. Over 47.5, minus 112 at TonyBet. So that's basically 1.5 points better than the market right now. So I'm jumping on that over at that book there.
Sorry, can you hit me with that number again, Bobano?
47.5 minus 112.
Wow, that is
TonyBet.ca. Yep.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it. It all makes sense to me. The over does make perfect sense to me. Slatsy is on Mizell over 16.5 rush yards. Should I be concerned with the Lions being locked in, game in and game out? I mean, I know we don't want to sit here and hit these games too hard because I'm really excited about college football, but I'm confused by what I'm seeing from the Lions defense. And Slatsy, are you on the over as well? Because I know that the over is a highly thought of bet this weekend in college and Canadian football, and then it's moving towards the over. Can you just touch on you are not on the Lions minus 9.5 or minus 10, and that's because of the question marks around their defense.
If I were to take BC, I'd maybe look minus 5.5 or minus 6 in the first half, because the one thing that I keep thinking of is the last 2 home games, the Hamilton game, slow start, the Ottawa game, slow start for BC at home. I think there's an onus on them to try to eradicate that, come out ready or early first quarter, because you're right, these last 2 home games, the Lions have not played well to start the game. So that's why if I like BC, I actually might sprinkle on, I'm not making it official, but I might sprinkle on them minus 5.5, minus 6 first half on the Lions. I think I'd prefer that than trusting them in minus 10 and those backdoor situations. It could always be wide open in a game like this, but I definitely like the total much more. It's the clear choice for me in this game was the over before BC.
Makes sense. Let's roll on.
By the way, Saskatchewan, 2 road wins this year. Do you know what those 2 road wins were? Edmonton with Cornelius at the beginning of the season at quarterback, before they got better, before they switched to Trey Ford, and the other road team they beat was Calgary. That's it. Edmonton with Cornelius when they were horseshit, and Calgary, who have become one of the worst teams in the CFL. Those are the 2 road wins this year for Saskatchewan.
Let's roll on to Saturday. These are bets I've made and was going to make immediately. I'm just so excited about college football. I don't know a sport that's more fun to cap personally. And I'm sort of new to the focus being on college football over the last 5 or 6 years or so. But
I love college just as much as NFL, honestly. It's great. Yep.
I think it's more fun, but it's not big business. Well, it is huge business. Don't get me wrong, but like NFL is the gambling business,
Yes.
But Alouettes, Redblacks here. I can't fucking help myself. I can't. Dustin Crum, I think, is going to be not a good Canadian quarterback. I think he's going to be a great Canadian quarterback. And then when I read some of his passing numbers, because the Ottawa averages the least amount of passing yards per game. I'm like, wait, what's wrong with me? I see them moving. Now, I know he moves the ball with his legs, and they lead with 135.8 rush yards per game. But I believe in Dustin Crum, and I got paid back somewhat for the plus 120 money line. Now, they had lost 7 straight games. Like I've lost money on the Redblacks. And I keep fading the Alouettes against shitty teams, and it's so stupid. All the Alouettes losses have been against the Bombers, Argos, and Lions. They beat up. I had the Stamps. That's what kept me from having a huge. Those are my only 2 bets last week, were the Redblacks and the Stamps. And I was watching that game. I was like, what have I done? The Stamps fucking suck. But I'm still nervous fading them in Hamilton, which I've done, and we'll talk about that in the next game. But I've gone back to the Redblacks. Well, and I shouldn't. I should just stay off this one because of what the Alouettes are doing to bad teams. But I can't help myself. Even though Bob Dice is the greatest guy, supposedly, in Canadian football, he makes terrible decisions. He drives me crazy. He makes me have to leave the room and go for walks. And I still back the Redblacks, and I backed them at home, and I backed them here. Alouettes come in off a 28-11 win at Calgary. And, did Fajardo look good? Stanback looked good. Nobody looked good in that football game. It was an ugly, ugly football game. It was not the worst football game of the year. Of course, that was the Elks Roughriders game that you were speaking of. There were 13, or was it 12-11 final score, or 13-12 final score, and I had the over, and that made me want to, just dig a bigger ditch. Redblacks coming off a 38-26 win at home over Saskatchewan. Crum was 21 of 26, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 53 yards in the touchdown, and I was in control the whole game. And the whole time I was sitting there, I got plus 120 on this? Are you kidding me? This guy is a very good quarterback, but the stats don't really say that. The Owls have beaten Ottawa twice already this year. Is Ottawa just going to roll over and be a little bitch here? No, right? No, but I, as soon as I made the bet, I'm like, why are you fading the Alouettes against teams that aren't the premier teams in the league, which I have done. Take it away for us, Bobano. Alouettes, Redblacks.
It is really, really wild with the Montreal Alouettes that they're 0-7 straight up against Winnipeg, Toronto, and BC. 3 teams that have been the best teams all year in the CFL. They haven't won. 0-7 against those teams, 7-0 against everybody else. That's Montreal. And this fits into the everybody else category, playing the Ottawa Redblacks. That being said, I don't trust Montreal fully. I suffered one of the worst reads imaginable last week with the Calgary Stampeders, and no team pissed me off last week all season than they did in that game. That off a bye week with Dave Dickinson as your quarterback, and he's not absolved the blame either. You have your team play like that, absolute garbage, in a big spot where you need a win desperately at home off a bye week, and you play like that against Montreal last week. Absolutely brutal. I think it was just as much bad Calgary as it was good Montreal. I mean, penalties and just turnovers and fumble and just not finishing drives, and then penalties again on defense that led to keeping Montreal drives alive. I mean, just awful stuff, and really undisciplined too from Calgary, and that's an indictment on the coaching staff. Absolutely terrible from Calgary last week, and we'll get to them in a minute. But Montreal here, I would lean Montreal because I'm buying into this that they can. They're definitely below that top tier trio of Winnipeg, BC, and Toronto, but they are probably better than almost everybody else, below them, including Ottawa. It feels cheap to me with Montreal, but Ottawa showed me something
already. Is Ottawa not going to show any heart? They're just going to let Ottawa stomp on them home. Slatsy's on Montreal.
That's what I saw last week. I wanted to see that Saskatchewan game because they had their hearts ripped out in another one of many gut-wrenching losses against BC the week before in BC. They should have won that game. Ottawa Redblacks had no business losing that game. They had to find a way to win that game, and somehow they blew it. They had the big lead. They give up a touchdown, okay, but then the missed field goal return for a touchdown, and then that's all she wrote. It was a horrible loss, and I was definitely worried going into the Saskatchewan game last week what kind of response we would get from Bob Dice's team, and they responded the right way. They played a great game, complete game. The defense was at least a little bit better. Dustin Crum in the offense, moving the ball up and down the field last week. They still showed a pulse after one of the most gut-wrenching losses you'll ever see a team go through with BC the week before. That's enough to tell me going into this game, Ottawa hasn't packed it in. Ottawa hasn't folded the tent. Ottawa is not going away just yet, even though the odds are stacked against them to make the playoffs. However, there is no making the playoffs if they don't win this game. And it's got to start with this game here against Montreal. So after what I saw from Ottawa, I saw some spirit. I saw some life. I saw some, we're not giving in. We're not quitting. We're not quitting on this season. And that's enough for me to pass on the side. I do like the over again here in the same. It's the second over I like on this card, the two overs, and this is the other one. Let me see. It's moved up, I think, a little bit here. But it's looking like it's over 47.5 right now at minus 110 at Pinnacle still. So we will lock that in with the Owls and the Redblacks. Look, you're going to give me a total of 47.5 in an Ottawa game. Yeah, I'm not going to pass that up. This is a team that's the offense has to carry them right now because that defense just isn't very good. That being said, they do get Money Hunter and they get Jovan Santos Knox, two pretty good players back on defense, Ottawa, for this game. I don't know how much it's going to matter because I've seen this defense fully healthy and they still can't stop anybody. So I still like over the total. I think both teams can move the football, put up their share of points.
It's a Redblacks game. Alouettes, I find skew to the under, but I get it with the Redblacks game. There's Dan Bonner in the house. Thank you, Dan, my guy, for the $10 dono. Blessing our action, Dan, my friend. Thank you so much. What a guy Dan is. Bobana moving on the over 47.5. I'm on the Redblacks. Last week,
we don't have this is not Tom Landry versus Bill Belichick here from a coaching matchup in this game. That's 100% right, Slatsy. It's Bob Dice and Jason Moss. Is not Belichick versus Landry. Not at all.
I took the money line last week with the Redblacks. Very, very confident with Saskatchewan coming down. This week I took the 2.5 plus 2.5. I came close. I had the
last time Montreal played in Ottawa, Ottawa should have won that game. Ottawa was leading. They were the better team for most of that game, and Montreal stole it at the end and won 25-24.
Oh, that was the beginning of a CFL breakdown.
That's also why it might be wise to take the points because it could be that kind of game again.
Let's move on to our final CFL game, and then we will review everything, Mally Mal, my friend, and move into college football. 7 p.m. Eastern, Calgary Stampeders 4-10, 2-5 on the road at Hamilton Tiger Cats, 6-8, 2-5 at home. Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, Ontario, 66 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history for this one. This one has the Ticats at minus 1.5. I got them on the money line at minus 121 at Pinnacle. I could have sent it in at minus 125. It's sitting at minus 1.5 right now, and that's where it opened. This line has not moved at Pinnacle since it opened on the 26th. And let's get into Alfred on the Alouettes. Look, I get it. Alouettes have been beating bad teams, but and I've got a thing for Crum and the Redblacks. It's just it is what it is. So you know, don't need to tail that. But even yesterday, I told you guys that I was negative ROI in totals, and I dominated totals yesterday. So you know, things ebb and flow. Sammy Calmer with a $13.99 dono. What? Okay, he's asked for it, and he's gonna get it.
Yeah, he just wanted to see you take a shot. That's all.
Second, look at this. Look at this. I hear my mom talking outside. I'm smashing shots at 11:45 a.m. Sammy Culmer, Dan Bonner, everybody that's supporting our channel. We have absolutely nothing without you guys. Thank you so much for your support, man. You guys inspire us constantly. North London says College USA football. Talk about real sports, pub sports, Premier League. You want us to talk about darts, Northern? Those are real athletes. Okay. All right. We move on. Stampeders, Ticats. I sort of feel like, there's my guy, Pete, Brooklyn Funk Project. You're such a great guy. I sort of feel like am I walking into a cave with a bear in it? The Stampeders, when I bet them, you and Slatzy and I did last week, thinking they were going to show something, lay an egg. I did not want the Tiger Cats in Toronto. I did not want the Elks at home. And I know that we've been making money off of both teams. I did not want them last week. And I'm coming back to the well here with the Tiger Cats. And this isn't a fade of the Stamps. This is me thinking Taylor Powell has to know what he did wrong last week. 42 pass attempts. When did this Taylor Powell, how does he go from the Taylor Powell we saw at the beginning of the year making these short little dink and dunk passes to throwing 42 passes against the Argos? Who does he think he is?
When you're trailing most of the game, that's going to play a part in it.
Still, who does he think he is? He's got to be smart and in control and not have a huge nickel and dime packages against them because they're running the ball and they're more than capable of running the ball. So you have James Butler. I know, yes, they're behind, but James Butler can't.
And it was in the blink of an eye they were behind. They were like behind 14-0, just like that. And right away the run game is lessened, and it's basically the way the game flowed. I honestly think that they're going to remember, hey, you've got a running game, and as long as this game's close, they're going to commit to running the football. I trust Scott Milanovic to do that. I've seen enough of Milanovic now since he became OC that he wants the run game to be part of the offense, a big part of it.
Well, I wonder then, now that we talk about that, because we know the mistake that was made last week. This is what we did in the college football breakdowns yesterday to get on the over in the Tulsa Temple game and get on the under in the 100 miles of hate, because we kind of talked about exactly how we would script the game here. If that's going to be the case, we know that Dickinson tries to create a concern about the rush with Kadeem Carey for defenses, and it doesn't work out sometimes. So we saw it in the Lions, like blow up in his face immediately. And then, so we just have two teams that weren't able to run the ball. I wonder but this total has gone up to 48.5 everywhere, but not at Pinnacle. They're still sitting at 14. I wonder if the under is live here. Why don't you take it away? You know this team inside and out. I am on the Tiger Cats. Maybe a mistake here, just because the Calgary Stampeders seem to screw me over at all times. I'm on the Tiger Cats at home. I bet it a few days ago. I like it. But hammer away, Bobano. Floor zero, Stamps, Tiger Cats.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not. Wow, Calgary was so bad last week, it compels me to bet against them this week, but that's what I did as well. And look, the Ticats finally got that problem with winning at home out of their system. Like, they've been a bad home team most of the season. They had one home win, and again, it was against Ottawa prior to 2 weeks ago when they it's not only their best home performance of the season, it was their best performance, period. To play Winnipeg at home and play that well and execute that well offensively, the way they did against the Bombers 2 weeks ago, that tells me Taylor Powell can do it. And he is getting better. There's no question. Last week was definitely a step in the wrong direction, step backward. But, I think in this game, he can bounce back. They're at home. They're now going to go into this game, and they said it. It was really bothering them going into the Winnipeg game, how they had been playing at home with just the one home win. Now they got the 2 home wins. after that performance against the Bombers. And this is a very beatable Calgary team right now. Calgary's a brutal 1-5 straight up their last 6 games. The only win was a game where they were actually trailing against Edmonton on Labor Day, and they came from behind and won 35-31. They had no business winning that game. Edmonton was better than them most of that game on Labor Day, and they stole one at the end. It's the only win they've had in the last 6 games. Jake Maier is not good. All right, I'm waiting for him to step up. I'm waiting for him to just take control of a game. It's close. We need a drive. We need a touchdown. Give me a touchdown. He's not doing it. He's throwing bad throws, interceptions. The O-line's not helping him either. The O-line for Calgary hasn't been good. And I think that could be a problem because I saw Hamilton finally get a good pass rush the last home game against Colaros and the Bombers. So I think the line of scrimmage, Hamilton can do a good job there. You look at Calgary too. They've at times given up big plays on the ground. You look at this Calgary defense this year. They're giving up 5.9 yards per carry, 126 rushing yards per game. And the yards per carry is 9th, dead last in the CFL, that run defense. So this is a game I think James Butler has a good game, against this Calgary defense. And I think they get back to running the football, especially early in the game. So I like Hamilton here. I still think they're a better team than Calgary right now. Calgary looks like a lost cause. You come out of your bye week in a desperate situation, and that's the way you play at home. There's no way I'm trusting you to come back from that, go on the road against a Hamilton team that's every bit, if not more, upset than Calgary about their recent performance. So Ticats for me, we'll go money line here and with Hamilton minus 120 at FanDuel.
Minus 120. You got it, Bobano. I know we need to move on, but he's going to be out for a second, but I'm going to ask him about the under. I'm interested in the under. Let's review all Canadian football action and then get into American college football. And there's Bobano. Bobano, what do you think about the under here? I started thinking about the game script, and I think it feels right.
Yeah, this is the one game that I would think could stay under the total, actually, if I had to be. And it's 48.5. See, I have a hard time understanding why this total is 48.5. And for instance, the Saskatchewan BC game is right around the same number. Yeah. When I think there's a lot more explosiveness in the Saskatchewan and especially the BC offense. And Hamilton, I think, is going to try to commit to the run, especially early. Not that they didn't against Toronto, but I felt that they were pass heavy a little more than usual early in that game. No, I think this is, look, you got a bad run defense, run the football, and that obviously could lead to longer drives. Powell was a little aggressive, maybe, be a little more short to intermediate with your pass. And we know the Calgary offense, can't be trusted after what we saw last week against Montreal. So that's why I ain't on the over in this game. And those are the reasons why.
I love it. We're going to review all action here, but I do want to touch on NFL briefly just because Troy, my co-host in Bankroll Blitz, cashed with the Lions. He was very confident in them. But what means more to me right now is this. Oh, sorry. Can you pull us here? Oh, I used it wrong. You can pull it up, Jose, when you're ready. The Cappers contest. We cashed with the Lions yesterday, our show on Thursday where the Pub Sports Radio members vote on it. With our Circa Millions entry that Jeff Slaughter put us in for, we're 9-5-2. 9-5-2, which means we got hope, baby.
You just want to be in the mix with those kind of contests. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing more dangerous than a group of cappers with hope, baby.
Yep.
So we cashed the Lions yesterday. Okay, let's review all action. Bobano is on the Argos minus 7.5, and I joined him, and I bet it. He's got it at 6.5 in his pocket. So does Slatsy. Bobano's on the over 47.5 in Saskatchewan, BC. Something doesn't feel right about this spot for me. I can't place it. But even you talking about the total being the same as the Hamilton total, does that mean that maybe that's the one that's all messed up? I mean, something just doesn't feel right. Bobano's on the over 47.5 in Montreal, Ottawa. I'm on the Redblacks. I'm on the Ticats, and I think I add the under to it because of the game script that we've got. Alfred 44 says, let's go win the Circa. You know how big that would be for our company? But it would be giving back to Jeff for believing in us, and he believes in us. The Cappers on the screen, the Cappers in the chat, everything that we're doing here, he invests so much into us. Wouldn't that be the greatest story in the history of capping if we could give that back to him? But we can talk more about that here as we
dare to dream, as they say.
Dare to dream. It makes it fun. And you make capping fun, Bobano. I enjoy these Fridays enormously. Let's move on to college football. 2-0 yesterday. I can't believe it. I can't fucking believe I'm not 3-0 yesterday. I couldn't fucking believe it. Thank God I was 6-0 on the card, but I could not believe that I pushed Sam Houston. That was the game that meant the most to me. That was of one game. Well, I didn't know. Obviously, I needed the Orioles to win in the division, and the Jays needed to win. But from like a capping standpoint, that game meant the most to me. But the Temple Tulsa over 55 was just absolutely glorious. Yep. And the under in the 100 miles of hate was fucking glorious. And I've done nothing here. And speaking of how important what we do here is, I had no bets going into yesterday, college-wise. Right. And we figured it out. We mined it. So I hope to do the same thing here. I did add a best bet for Saturday. I sent it to Bobano at 2 a.m., so we'll talk about that one. That will be at the end. But Bobano will lead us through these college games. I'll be listening to you guys in the chat. Let's figure this shit out. Let's go. We go to Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh, North Carolina to get this started. Louisville Cardinals 4-0, 2-0 in the ACC. And the important angle here, which could blow up in my face, because Bobano, I don't. You probably don't know this. My best bets on the card so far are Nebraska plus 17 and Auburn plus 14.5. And maybe these blow up in my face because we know what Kirby Smart does on the road. He covers and, where he doesn't at home. But these very, very good college football teams who have not played on the road yet, what the hell are they going to do once they face that adversity? Now, you could say, look, Georgia's number one team in the country. But
I'd be more interested fading Georgia on the road this week if it was someone other than Auburn. Auburn has looked rough. Really rough on offense. I worry about that offense.
I agree. But
I think the under is the better bet in that game, honestly.
I like that idea. But don't you think the fact that the market's moved so legitimately towards them is something that just you have to go back and kind of recalibrate? And then
could have lost at Cal. I can't get that Cal game out of my mind. They did nothing on offense, and they were very lucky to win that game. And then I see Cal get just destroyed by Washington. Now, Washington's a really damn good offense. But that's a really tough game for me. As you can tell, I'm not really strong on that game either way.
Well, we love hearing all of your thoughts enormously. It's Argos. It's Bomb. Oh, yeah. What am I doing? I did that. I wrote that wrong. Sorry, it was the shot. Yeah, my bad. Thank you, guys. It was the shot. I wrote Argos minus 7.5. My bad.
Oh, Winnipeg.
I bet it right. I just tweeted it out while we were doing it wrong. Yep. So I'll remember that here in a second. Thank you very much for that coin. It's the Bombers minus 7.5 that we bet, and I blame our friend JP Weiser. Okay. Let's get to work. 7 p.m. Eastern, Louisville Cardinals at NC State Wolfpack. And I want to listen to you so badly, but I do need to tweet that stupid Bombers bet out while it was happening. Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh, North Carolina. Louisville 2-0 in the ACC. NC State 1-0, but, didn't look good doing it. 72 Fahrenheit, sunny, 4 miles per hour. Let's, I keep saying it, and I started saying it last year that if I could only have one sport to cap, nothing has been bringing me as much fun as college football. And I think a part of it is that, college basketball is too many teams. But I think that the FBS teams in college football, there's the right amount where you look at the slate and you're like, oh, I can find 4 or 5 spots here because I'm getting 60 offered to me. Sometimes when you get offered 300, you're like, oh, I can't. But I just love this so much, and I'm looking forward to cap with you here. Let's get into the line history here for Louisville, NC State. We have, and I got cold feet on Virginia last week. I didn't fade them, but you guys all made money off of it, and I was unsure what Brennan Armstrong was going to bring to the table. I was like, is he going to show something here? And he did not. We're sitting here with NC State as 3.5 point favorites. This opened up at 3, and it's been bouncing all over the place. The first move, though, and I think it's a crucial thing in everybody's cap, where did the first move go? Because that's the books respecting the cappers that get in earliest. was towards NC State, but then everybody else came in. So this went to 2.5, then back to 3 and 3.5. From a total side of things here, we are sitting with this total at 56 right now. It opened up at 55.5. It immediately went down to 54.5. Andrew G says Louisville top 5 offense. Wine Time Sports says he's on Louisville -3 here. So I think they hit NC State over the head. This run attack from Louisville is good, and Plummer's really good throwing it right now. He bought the half point for -120. Harold Williams leaning to -3. Let's go. Slatty says too many shots and not enough sleep is a dangerous but fun combination. Don't worry, you can't have too many shots when the bottle's this low. Louisville is 4-0 and they've looked good doing it, but we haven't seen them on the road yet. They beat Georgia Tech 39-34 to open the season. Then they beat FCS Murray State 56-0 before beating Indiana 21-14. Then last week they defeated Boston College 56-28 as 14-point favorites, all of them at home. Let's get into the cash flow for this one, as that is also imperative. Sorry, I didn't have it up. Here we go. And here we go. So we have 21% of the tickets and 27% of the cash on NC State. You know, I'm going to hammer this nonstop for the rest of my life with us on shows. We need to buy low and sell high. For those of you that cashed on Jacksonville State, congratulations. You know, we all cashed on them in a 21-0 easy win over Eastern Michigan last week. But if you are to sit here and think that that bet made sense when it was the exact same line as them at home against Eastern Michigan, as it was for them to travel on a short week at Sam Houston State, that should be the same line, that is the most important, I think, part of capping. And I don't agree that should have been the same line. Going into Sam Houston on a short week is so much more difficult than playing Eastern Michigan at home. NC State, after what we saw in Virginia, would be a buy low spot on them. And Louisville, 4-0, when we've only seen them at home, is a risky situation. At this point, and we'll hear Bobano's analysis, but I can't look anywhere but NC State. And I don't know if I want NC State, because just like Wine Time said, Jack Plummer, 18-21, 388 yards, 5 touchdowns against Boston College. He looked very, very good. Brendan Armstrong with Robert back as his old coordinator from that big season in 2021 Virginia. It's not working, but Jawar Jordan is, and the offensive line looks good. So why isn't it working? I don't know. It's hard to. How do you stop Jawar Jordan? With the Cardinals and Jawar Jordan, I get why nobody would want NC State, but why are they at such a low spread? The 24-21 is 8.5-point favorites. The NC State's offensive line, you know, you can understand a bit why Brendan Armstrong is panicking. Jack Plummer has all the time in the world compared to what is happening here with Brendan Armstrong. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Louisville Cardinals, NC State Wolfpack.
Yeah, so once we get to 1 month through the college football season and I see a team like NC State that hasn't covered a point spread yet, it tells me the betting markets have been wrong about this team all season. And I cashed a ticket with UConn in the first game of the season against NC State. I had a bit of Notre Dame against NC State. I actually jumped ship and took NC State last week because I've been fading Virginia quite a bit. And that's the eye-opener, that they struggled on offense against that defense last week, Virginia, which was just a pitiful defense. They haven't stopped anybody this year. That James Madison, Maryland, I mean, every team that's gone up against Virginia has been able to move the football. And it was a struggle for NC State for everything they got in that game against a very bad Virginia team. And I coming into the season when I did my college football prep work, I said NC State's going to decline a little bit this year. I wasn't sure how much, but they would a little bit decline. And you look at it, the defense lost a lot from last year. There's a very good defense last year. It's not the same defense this year. And the offense has a ton of issues. I don't think there's anything they can hang their hat on. They cannot run the football. Their rushing numbers are brutal. Their offensive line has been bad. Brennan Armstrong's been running for his life, and there's no playmakers. There's no speed at wide receiver for this team other than Kevin Concepcion. He's the one really good, fast receiver they have. And not really anybody else. Bradley Rosner, the Rice transfer, is a nice little possession receiver, but he's not going to get separation from opposing defensive backs. So it's a very limited plotting offense. That's what it is. And you would think a Robert and Brennan Armstrong combination, which worked so well 2 years ago at Virginia, would be great here. It hasn't been. And I don't know if it's going to get much better. Then you look at Louisville, a team I thought would improve quite a bit this year. And I love what I see on offense. They're loaded there. The O-line's been great. They've been opening up holes for the run game and running the football well with Jawar Jordan. He's been absolutely terrific running the ball. Jack Plummer is very familiar with Jeff Brom from their Purdue days. So there's great chemistry, great continuity there. They got two big-time receivers in Jamari Thrash and Amari Huggins-Bruce. This is a really explosive Louisville offense. And if they get their points, and when you look at NC State, they have not played an offense probably as good as this outside of Notre Dame. And we saw what happened there at home as well against Notre Dame. And they gave up 45 points. They got shredded on the defensive side of the football. I don't think Louisville's nearly as good as Notre Dame, but I think that offense is not far behind Notre Dame, in my opinion, as far as how good they are. So I think NC State's going to struggle. I think you've got two teams going in opposite directions, and the price is cheap to back the better team, and the betting markets have not caught up yet based on the 0-4 ATS numbers for NC State. They have not caught up to how much worse this team is this year. So for me, it's Louisville -3, -115 at Bookmaker.
You got it, Bobano. Louisville -3.
It's definitely my strongest play on this Friday card. No question.
I think, when Troy's saying, I really feel like NC State is a play. If the database gives me a favorable situation, I will be backing them. The fact that this is at 3.5 and not 3, and most books are hanging that now you can find a 3, but that a lot of the books that we trust are hanging 3.5 is a sign that that maybe Louisville goes on the road and wins this game comfortably. Joey Harb, I will ask that question to Bobano. Of course, we'll stop anything for any member, and we thank you guys so much for being members. But we're very, very important notes from Mikey, Star of the Pimp Slot Play Day. He says, home dogs up to +7 are 2-13 against the spread if they are on a 3 or more against the spread losing streak, and the total is between 54 and 68.5. He says Louisville spot, hook shouldn't matter. He says margin of 12.5 points. Okay, I've heard enough. I'm not going to move on NC State. That's fine. I'll cheer on Bobano with his Louisville -3. Can you answer our guy Joey Harb's question with NC State and their lack of offensive ability? Now we know
it is worth noting Louisville pummeled NC State last year, 25-10, and Louisville wasn't at the level they're at, and NC State was a lot better last year. So
Jawar Jordan is averaging 9.6 yards per carry.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have that,
he's great. That whole offense is great. That's what Brom does. Brom doesn't matter where he is. Western Kentucky, Purdue, Louisville now. He has good offenses year in and year out.
What do you think about this total? Why are you not on the over? Do you think it's too high?
You know what? I do have the over small, but I like the side a lot more. I debate. I'll go ahead, I think, and make this total because I do like it. I think Louisville will move the ball here against NC State. Because look, they gave up 45 to Notre Dame. I think Louisville can get into the 30s here. Louisville got 25 against this defense, which was better last year. Louisville's offense is also better this year, and NC State's defense is worse this year. So I think they can get into the 30s at least. The question is, can you get something out of NC State's offense? I think so, because look, Louisville, their defense is better, but they'll give up points. They gave up 28 to Boston College last week. Now, a lot of that was when they were up big, but I worry about NC State's personnel on offense, the O-line, the skill position talent, but at home, Louisville can still give up points. I'm going to go ahead to make that over official, Jimmy. I will. Even though I like Louisville more, I personally got more money on Louisville than the total, than the over, but I'll go ahead with it. Over 55 -110 at Bet Rivers.
You got it. This is not going to be a game I'm going to move on. Louisville, I'm very interested in these games and these teams that are having their road debut after sweeping the board at home. and I'm tracking them, and I'm not the database man like our guy Troy Torrance.
Well, Louisville has played twice away from home. It's worth noting. They're not a Michigan. They're not a Georgia in that regard. Yeah.
But not real road games. Do you count them as real road games?
Yeah, they were neutral, but they were, again, it's closer to an Indiana home game in the one game, closer to a Georgia Tech home game in the other.
Fair.
But you're right. This is true. Yeah. On campus, Carter Finley Stadium. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. Joey Harp says, so why not Louisville team total?
Yeah. I'd take that. I'd sign off on that. I'd sign off on that. That's sometimes I prefer the team total than the side, but because I got -3 and the team total was 29.5, 30, I decided I'd go -3 instead.
Okay, let's move on to the next spot on the board. Big game alert here, 9 p.m. Eastern, number 10 ranked Utah Utes. This is our showcase video on Pub Sports Radio. It will be all day. But if Bobano if there's other games that he would rather have, let me know, because I put it there, the Utah Utes, Oregon State. We're in Corvallis, 60 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 6 miles per hour is the wind. We're always going to be on the Cam Rising watch here. It's just going to be part of college football. If you are, letting the market dictate, and you shouldn't, because if you did at one point last week, you would have thought Cam Rising was playing. But if you let the market dictate if you think Cam Rising will be in, I mean, Oregon State's gone from -2.5 to -4.5. So, I mean, I would indicate that, he won't be.
He's probably not playing. And it's funny because they were all talking. Yeah, we're probably going to have him. He actually might be ready for that first game against Florida. We haven't even seen the guy yet, and it's September, the end of September.
My guy Al Cervic with the pirate earpiece at work. Respect. Joseph Gomez says, I hear the world and the public on Oregon State. I don't. The public can be on the spot. What I need to see, and that's, you can still win money when the public's on the spot. You just need to see the books uncomfortable with it. And if they move it from -2, like what BJ got it to -4.5, well, then they're uncomfortable. And so I don't want to be on the public side, but if I am, the books better be uncomfortable. The total here is at 44. It opened up at 45.5. That 44 is slightly juiced. We go over to the cash flow for this one. We have 58% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on Utah. 58% of the tickets. So if we're to believe that, that's certainly not a public side, even though the people that I listen to are on Oregon State. 58% of the tickets, 61% cash on Utah. And from a total perspective, we have 85% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on the under. So, Nate Johnson, who got a little banged up in that last start, is expected to lead the team, and we'll have Bobano let us know that. They come off defeating UCLA at home 14-7 as 3.5-point favorites. And it was Jonah Ellis. I mean, the guy, look, this is nuts. 10 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, and 3.5 sacks. I mean, this defense is just getting, and they're not even fully healthy. And the defense is absolutely elite. So they also are still, they have so many injuries. I mean, we're talking about the longest injury list that is in college football right now. Jaquindon Jackson got hurt again. They haven't had Micah Bernard all year. Oregon State had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 38-35 loss at Washington State as 3-point favorites. And I'm very interested to hear Bobano's breakdown. Take it away. Utes, Beavers in Corvallis.
Yeah, I'm passing on this game. I'll give you my thoughts. I mean, if you got a great number on Oregon State, I think that's probably good. Below a field goal. It's certainly a great spot for them off of, that tough game against Washington State. I'm not ready to say Oregon State's defense, which, we were praising Oregon State's defense prior to last week against Washington State. Now, all of a sudden, we've got one bad defensive effort against a very good Washington State offense. Washington State's moved the football against everybody, and Pullman and the Palouse is not an easy place to play. We can't just all of a sudden say Oregon State's defense is lousy after one bad game. Let's see how they bounce back here at home, where they've been terrific here in Corvallis. This has been, going back to the start of last year, a very, very strong home field. This is going to come down to whether Oregon State wins or covers to DJU. DJU Uiagalelei has kind of regressed a little bit the last couple of games. I didn't think he played great against San Diego State, even though they won handily. And he certainly didn't play great last week on the road against Washington State. Starting to make some mistakes, a little indecisive. He's going to have to play well, and he's going to have to take care of the football, because the one thing Utah does is that they're ball hawks on that defensive side of the football. And you want to know why Utah enters this game undefeated? It is all thanks to that defense. That defensive performance last week against UCLA, they needed every bit of it, because the offense with the hybrid quarterback duo of Nate Johnson and Bryson Barnes didn't work. You know, Bryson Barnes more the pocket passer, Nate Johnson's more the running quarterback, and they couldn't move the football against UCLA at home last week. And it was the defense that got it done for them. That's how good that defense can be. They are that good, and they are that well coached by Kyle Whittingham. That's why they were able to go to Baylor, you know, and beat the Bears 20-13 without Cam Rising, because of that defense and how good it's been. So now that we're saying 4.5 with Oregon State, now that we're seeing that number, that's not a number I'm comfortable laying with Oregon State. You know, and even the initial bet that I made back on Monday on Oregon State at less than a field goal, it was a very small bet. It was nothing overly strong. So if it was nothing overly strong for me below a field goal, there's just no way I'm going to recommend it now at -4.5. You know, if the line keeps climbing, and if Cam Rising is officially announced everywhere is out, it might even move further on Oregon State. And I do think they win. I do think this is a very tough spot for an offense that's really not looked really good all the last few games without Rising. The defense has won these games for Utah. It won them the game against Baylor. You know, it won them the game against UCLA. It's probably going to have to win them the game here, because I think it's going to be a grind for them on offense here on the road against an Oregon State defense that I think will show better than they did last week. So, and I just won't go against a guy like Kyle Whittingham and a team that's coached as well as they are by him at a number like this now, +4.5. I won't. So it's a pass for me. I think the under might be in play. Now, the only thing that concerns me about the under, for some reason, the last 2 or 3 meetings between these teams have been high scoring, really high scoring. But this is a different situation. This is Utah with no Cam Rising, an offense that's really struggling here, especially at home against UCLA. That's why it's hard to buy into Utah's offense working here on the road against Oregon State. So, and Oregon State's offense, look, I think a really good defense can bottle them up as well. And we know Utah's got that. So I think the under would be the way I'd go from a totals perspective, but I did not make anything official here.
And interesting stat from Troy Torrance: since 2018, home favorites between 3.5 and 4.5 who lost as road favorites in the previous game, just 7-15 against the spread. All right, let's move on. Nothing has appealed to me in these two spots as of yet.
That Utah stat that Mike threw out there, Mike M, 13-1 ATS. I did not know it was that good as a road underdog since 2014. Utah 13-1.
I mean, that just goes to what you were saying about Whittingham.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He's just a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Let's go from Corvallis to El Paso, Texas, for the Sun Bowl action between Louisiana Tech Bulldogs and UTEP Miners. A hot weather, as you would imagine, in El Paso, 87 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 9 miles per hour. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We have this total sitting at 50.5. It dropped from 52.5. Interestingly enough, when it came out about 13 hours after it was released, it moved up to 53. And it did last there for 5 or 6 hours before it went back to 52.5. We're all the way down to 50.5 now. Let's take a look at the side here for this one. Here we go. We have it sitting at -1.5 at Pinnacle at plus money. And this has been all over the place. This opened up at -1. I guess we should look at the money line, but this will give you an idea. It opened up at -1. And then on Wednesday at 2 p.m., it moved to +1.5. And then at 7:30, it moved to +2.5. And then we're back at -1.5 right now. Now that -1.5 is plus money. I won't go through it all, but just to give you a better idea here, I'll get the money line up. So let's get this up here. While that's coming up, actually it's here now. So why don't we pop it in here? From a money line standpoint, UTEP right now is -109. And they became plus 107. The highest they've gotten is minus 119. So it's not that big of a deal. It's all within 25 cents. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. 61% of tickets, 55% of the cash is on the under. On the spread, you have 64% of tickets and 97% of the cash on La Tech. Jesus. That's surprising. And then from a money line standpoint, 81% of tickets on Louisiana Tech, but just 60% of the cash. Ronnie and Bergie says UTEP has been a small favorite in 2 games this year and failed to cover, being on the other side both times. Gifted Cartel on the over 50.5. And BJ has a big market move for the final game that we will be talking about over in Provo. So let's set the table up for Bobano. Louisiana Tech comes in off its second straight loss, 28-14 at Nebraska as 20.5-point dogs. And it's Hank Bachmeier. He was not available in the Nebraska game due to a shoulder injury. And Jack Turner made his first start and looked good, 27-41 for 296 yards. I mean, it was impressive. Defensively, these teams are awful. Both of them. Just awful. La Tech is abysmal, and UTEP is struggling immensely defensively. UTEP comes in off its third straight loss, 45-28 at home versus UNLV as 1-point favorites. That comes on the heels of a 31-10 loss at Arizona, a 38-7 loss at Northwestern. The win, if you want to find a win for UTEP, you have to see their game against Incarnate Word. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Little Conference USA action, La Tech UTEP.
Yeah, this UTEP team's among my most disappointing teams in college football. This is beyond bad how they are playing, considering the personnel they have. They got their entire offensive line back. They've got a multiple-year starting quarterback in Gavin Hardison. They've got a running back that's been there for years in Dion Hankins. Tyron Smith leading a great receiver leading that core. And yet they have had struggles this year at times moving the football. I mean, you saw it against Arizona, Northwestern, even the Jacksonville State loss. They got shut down big time in that game. And a lot of their points last week, don't be fooled by the 45-28 score against UNLV. They did score 28. Much of that was when they were already way behind. So the UTEP's got issues, and the defense, it's been even worse. I mean, this was supposed to be, and they've been a solid defense the last couple of years under Dana Dimmel, not this year. They are getting ripped apart on that side of the football, especially the last 3 games. So not at all good news here for UTEP. I am going to look Louisiana Tech. I like Louisiana Tech more if Hank Bachmeier doesn't play, believe it or not. I'm not big on Hank Bachmeier, and I've never been truly impressed with what he's done. Boise State, he was mediocre, up and down, erratic. The first few games here at Louisiana Tech, I haven't been impressed. For me, I prefer Jack Turner. Now, it was a very good Nebraska. I think Nebraska's defense is actually pretty solid this year. And for him to go on the road in his first start at Nebraska and throw for 292 yards, 27-42. He did have an interception, but he also threw a touchdown. They moved the ball a little bit. I actually think he might be an upgrade, believe it or not, at quarterback from Hank Bachmeier. Now, we don't know if he's going to start. He's questionable. It's going to be a game-time decision. So this is going to go right up until almost 9 p.m. Eastern tonight when we find out if Bachmeier's in or not. If Bachmeier's in, I'm probably still going to take Louisiana Tech because, to me, UTEP is you either fade them or you leave them alone right now. That's how bad things have gone. And this home field has not mattered. They've still lost here at home. But if it's Turner, I'm going to like Louisiana Tech even more if he gets the start at quarterback. So I'm not going to wait around. It's not going to be one of those deals where, we don't know yet, so I'm not going to lock it in on the show. I'm still going to go ahead with it here. Louisiana Tech, there's actually a plus 1.5, minus 114 at Pinnacle. I could go money line, but I'll take the plus 1.5 here, minus 114 at Pinnacle with Louisiana Tech. And I'll probably put a little bit more personally on this Louisiana Tech side if we get that confirmation that Jack Turner's in before kickoff.
Locked in for Bobano, Louisiana Tech plus 1.5, minus 114. We got the Foulish Hound rolling with us. She joined our comment section yesterday. I knew right when I saw her in this comment section that she was going to bless our picks, and we swept the board. Jose and I went 9-0. Foulish Hound is back to bless our action.
Positive vibes. Yep.
She always has positive vibes, man.
Yep.
She's money in the bank. We love you, Fallish Hound. Let's move on to 10:15 p.m. Eastern. Big game alert here. Two new Big 12 teams going at it. Cincinnati Bearcats 2-2, 0-1 in the Big 12. At the BYU Cougars 3-1, 0-1 in the Big 12. We're in Provo, Utah, 68 Fahrenheit, sunny, 7 miles per hour. Take a look at the line history here. We got a lot of talk about it. BJ jumped in and a couple minutes ago saying crazy line movement here. Cincinnati went from dog to favorite. BYU was -2.5 earlier in the week. Big move. On the money line, as I've got the money line up, BYU opened up at Pinnacle at -141. About yesterday morning, they got up to +113. Right now, they're just +101. So a big move towards the road Bearcats. Wow. So we have, from a spread perspective, Cincinnati opened up at +3 and have gone to -1. Good God, that's a big move when you cross from dog to favorite. I mean, it's different than a 4-point move. Let's take a look at the total here in this one. Let's take a look at this one. We have it's sitting right now at 49.5 or 50, depending on where you shop. Pinnacle, though, has the 49.5 juice to the under. And they jumped up from 48. They were at 48 yesterday. And they opened it up at 50. So there's been buyback on the over in this one. This is wild. All right. And Rant saying sneaky over here. Troy Torrance says reverse line move as well. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this big game here. On the money line, you have 28% of tickets and 57% of cash on Cincinnati. It's obviously respected sharp action. On the total, you have 35% of tickets and 91% cash on the under. Yeah, just went up 1.5. And then on the spread, you have 34 and 34 on Cincinnati. So the public is on BYU. The books have moved it strangely and strongly against them. Cincinnati comes in off 2 ugly home losses. They lost to Miami, Ohio, 31-24 in overtime as 14.5-point favorites. Then last week, they lost 26 to Oklahoma as 13-point dogs. They score. They're able to score. 408. Well, I shouldn't say score. That's probably wrong. They 488 yards per game offensively. But look, I mean, 24 points in an overtime game and then 6, to Oklahoma at home. So I shouldn't say score. BYU has had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 38-27 loss at Kansas, 8.5-point dogs. We were on Kansas. I felt pretty comfortable throughout the game. I felt like we were in control, but BYU was in that game, and we were, things went our way, but it wasn't a dominant performance by Kansas, but things went our way. And it's, Keaton Slovis. I mean, we watched Sam Houston go into Provo and hold BYU to 14 points. And that was something that gave us a lot of confidence in Sam Houston, although, last 2 games they've allowed a lot of points. BYU's defense is their strength. Their rushing game is non-existent. So Slovis is the only thing they have going. Their rushing attack is averaging 61 yards per game on the ground. Absolutely nothing. BYU's defense, though, very strong and very strong on third down. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Bearcats, Cougars, Laval Stadium in Provo.
Yeah, I've got this, believe it or not. It was BYU as a home favorite of 2.5, 3 early in the week. It got to Cincinnati as the road favorite. It flip of favorites. It got to Cincinnati -2.5. There was actually a -3 on Cincy for a little bit. And I grabbed a little BYU at +3 at that number. And I just said now that it's +3 with a home dog and BYU on a Friday night, Cincinnati going to elevation in the thin air, the high altitude, all that. That's enough for me to grab a little BYU +3. I also bet the over, and it moved in my direction. It was funny. I took 48 with the total, went to 50, and now it's back down to 49. So it's been back and forth. I am not making either of these official, though. These are small bets. These are not strong opinions. I just thought once it got to 3, I had to grab a little BYU. Plus, the reason I also grabbed a little BYU is I think Cincinnati, push comes to shove, is going to be the better team this year, but I don't know how good Cincinnati is. They did actually compete relatively solidly against Oklahoma, a very good Oklahoma team last week, but they also lost outright as 2 touchdown favorites against Miami, Ohio. And their only 2 actual victories this season were against Eastern Kentucky and against a Pitt team that I don't think is very good, the Pittsburgh Panthers this year. I mean, they have not played great so far this season. So that's the only 2 victories Cincinnati's had. So to me, them being road chalk on a Friday night in Provo seemed a little ambitious to me, because I still have some question marks about Cincinnati and Emory Jones. Emory Jones, again, that's going to be critical tonight. Cincinnati's a run-first offense this year. Emory Jones is an okay passing quarterback, and he's been a little bit better this year. But if you remember him in Florida and Arizona State, he's never a polished pocket passer. They need to be able to run the football, and their rushing stats are very good this year, Cincy. The question is, can BYU stop the run? BYU's run defense has been okay. It's not been great, but the one thing I'll say about BYU and their run defense is, they've played some pretty good offenses so far this season, especially the last 2 weeks. Arkansas and Kansas, those are 2 pretty good. And Arkansas is a run-first offense too. Kansas has a very good offense. So BYU's faced some really good offenses the last 2 weeks. So, like I said, I think as the season goes on, Cincinnati might be the better team. And I'm not a big Keaton Slovis fan. Anyone that's heard me talk about Keaton Slovis knows that. And they're very one-dimensional. They haven't been able to run the football. Will they be able to, BYU here against Cincinnati? Cincinnati's run defense this year, when you look at it, 3.5 yards per carry allowed, 108 rushing yards per game. So the run defense has been pretty solid. But again, I'll counter with, other than Oklahoma, you faced, not a slew of terrific offensive teams, I would say, so far this season. So it's a really tricky game. That's why I'm not making it official. Once I saw +3 at BYU, I said, I got to grab a little BYU now when it hit +3. A little bit on the over, because I do feel that with these 2 teams struggling at times to do what they want to do on offense, they're going to have a little bit better of a time doing it here tonight. And 48 to me seemed just a little bit low. But again, the BYU and the over opinions are just very small opinions. Neither of them are going to be official.
This is a tough Friday
Very tough.
slate. Yesterday we broke down the games, and I felt clear about a move after breaking them down on each one of them.
Yep.
Here, this is very difficult. Let's review Bobano's actions on Louisville -3 in the over 55 in Louisville, NC State. He has stayed off Utes, Beavers. He's on La Tech +1.5 at -114. And are you making and nothing official? I guess I just heard you say that for Bearcats Cougars. So
No.
a very tricky slate. CMAC and Bobano broken all these games down, and they're on our home page. I only have 5 bets on college football, as it turns out. I'm sitting 2-0, so I only have 3 left, and I added 1. I thought I was going to add more here, but nothing really appeals. My guy Eric Jones in the house. So let's go. This is my addition. This is what I would say is best bet worthy. That's what I've been doing in college football, because there's so many opportunities. My volume's been low, and I've enjoyed every second of it. And we had to a place that a game maybe people don't want to talk about, and that's happened often with my breakdowns here. This is in the last few weeks, because they're smaller games, but I don't care. I care about making money, and I'm making money here. We head to Waldo Stadium in Kalamazoo, Michigan. 77 Fahrenheit, sunny, 4 miles per hour. A little MAC action for you. Ball State Cardinals 1-3. This is their MAC season debut in conference. At Western Michigan Broncos 1-3, 0-1 in the MAC. Let's get to the line history here for this one. I had planned to bet this all week. There was no real rush to it, and I just bet it this morning. This is sitting at 49.5. It opened up at 53, a 3.5 point drop on the total. From a side perspective here, we have, so many 3:30 games. Here we go. We're sitting with Pinnacle hanging at 2.5. Now that money line, the 2.5 is kind of tricky. The money line is just -121. So, for instance, Bet365 is sitting here with a 330 is at -1.5, but their money line's -125. So I don't think we should get too caught up on the 2.5 or 1.5 or any of that. But this did open up as a pick'em. So if we do look at just the money line swing here for Western Michigan, who I'm on, we're sitting here. Some books have them up as high as -127. Pinnacle and Bet Chris are at -121. This opened up at -113 and has only kind of moved in the direction of Western Michigan until it got to -127 last night, and it moved back 6 cents since then. So here we go. Let's do it. There's my guy Jay Peasy in the house. I love it, Jay Peasy. Western Michigan opened up their season with a decent 35-17 win at home over FCS St. Francis of Pennsylvania as 14-point favorites. St. Francis, Pennsylvania is not bad, and they outgained them 509-281. It was a decent performance. Then they went on the road for 3 very tough games. They lost 48-7 at Syracuse as 24.5-point dogs. They weren't ready. They weren't ready for playing in the Dome, and they weren't ready. And they got destroyed in the first half, and Syracuse took their foot off the gas. It could have been much worse. They followed that up with a 41-10 loss at Iowa as 28.5-point dogs, and this was the opposite. This one was much closer than it looked. Yep. They were only down 14-10 at the half, and then they got kind of beaten down.
And the last touchdown was scored in the final minute by Iowa to cover that point spread in the final minute, because that offensive coordinator, Brian Ferentz, the son of Kirk, has a clause in his contract where if this team doesn't average 25 points per game this season, he's out. He's fired.
Wow.
And that's why, if you watch this, now it didn't matter last week when they played Penn State, because that offense is just going to suck on the road against a very good Penn State defense. But when they're facing teams they can move the ball, like a Western Michigan at home, be careful with that. They're going to look to punch in late touchdowns because of that.
Oh, that's a very important note. I love it. After the Iowa spot, they go into Toledo. And Toledo was last year's MAC champions. Toledo were 21.5-point favorites in that spot. And again, Western Michigan played them very tough in the first half. They covered the full game too. I mean, it was a 49-31 loss. Western Michigan is getting better and better, and the schedule is set up for them to be good in the MAC this year. And the value on them is right now. It's right now after getting beaten up on the road by these 3 teams. So they come home, and now I expect them to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They opened up their season with sophomore Jack Salopek. They've looked much better with Trayson Bourget, the freshman. It was their quarter. I mean, he was there last year as well, but still called a freshman. And he looked promising against Toledo. I mean, there's so many different ways of looking at these numbers. And what I see against a tough Toledo team, is they were able to put up points. He went 12 of 22 for 160 yards. He was able to create a situation where they were concerned about him passing the ball, which opened up running lanes. Jalen Buckley is a monster. We know that. 507 yards, 4 touchdowns. We know that they have a running game. Now, Ball State has had a similar schedule. I realize now that I haven't talked about the cash flow, and I think that is very important. So let's just quickly, before I get into Ball State, let's just talk about this here spot. God, right here. I'm so close to it. And here we go. At this point, on the money line, 54% of the tickets and 84% of the cash are on Ball State. On the -1 line, though, on the spread, 69% of tickets and 77% of the cash are on Western Michigan. And the under is being hammered. You've seen it go 3.5 points here. So Ball State's had a similar schedule. They opened up with games at Kentucky and Georgia. They lost by a combined score of 90-10. They win their first game of the home game of the year, 45-7 at home over FCS Indiana State. But then Georgia Southern came to town as 6-point favorites and destroyed them, 40-3. And I don't know. Obviously, this is a buy low spot on Ball State after getting destroyed by Georgia Southern. But, they were outgained 530-197. Did they just give up? Well, what does that tell you about this football team here? They've lost the FBS competition 130-13 in 3 games. Simonza is throwing more picks and touchdowns. Their offense is bad. Their defense is bad. And who is the best player in this football game? It's Jalen Buckley.
Great running back. Yep.
Western Michigan at home. It's my third best bet. Yesterday's action was not best bets. This is my third best bet on the spot. Take it away for us here, Bobano. And thank you for letting me send this to you at 2:30 in the morning. Ball State, Western Michigan.
Yeah, this one for me, I mean, I didn't love either of these teams coming into the season. I didn't think Ball State was going to be particularly good. And I definitely thought Western Michigan was going to be one of the worst teams in the MAC. So I can't say I'm as anxious to bet this fantastic football game as you are here on Saturday. You mentioned it. Western Michigan has faced a tough schedule, right? Iowa, Syracuse, Toledo. Toledo's one of the best teams in the MAC, and they actually led that game. I thought they played Toledo very tough, and then it got away from them in the fourth quarter. It's not like Ball State's played chopped liver. They played Georgia and Kentucky. That's about as tough as it gets on the road as well. I don't know. I mean, when you look at it, Trace Bourget here, since he's taken over at quarterback for Western, it's been a little bit better. They had to make a change because Jack Salopek just was not playing well early in the season for Western Michigan at all. I think so. It was the right call, I think, to make a switch. And look, it has perked up the offense, no doubt. And they have a good running back that's capable of running the ball. We know the Ball State defense is, look, you're going to give up 40s probably to SEC teams, but to then give up 40 on your home field last week against Georgia Southern. I like Georgia Southern a lot. I like that offense for them quite a bit. So it's not like they're giving up 40 points to a horrendous offense. It's a pretty good offense, Georgia Southern, but still to lose that way 40-3 when you're only a 5.5 point home underdog, that's a bad look. The defense is getting ripped apart. I'm not big on the Ball State quarterback. He's been up and down all over the place. Caden Simonza at quarterback. He's got 61% completions this year on the season. 3 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. He had 2 last week in the game against Georgia Southern. That's not what you want to see. You don't want to see 3 to 5 TD to INT ratio out of your quarterback. That's for sure. You might be onto something here because I think if I were to bet this game, I'd lean to the slight home favorite because I just don't know there's any difference between these two teams, and you're getting Western Michigan less than the full field goal at home in this matchup. And look, the money has trickled in throughout the week on Western Michigan. So that's something to keep in mind here. That we've seen pick them -1, -1.5 now in this game. And you're right, we are seeing improvement from Western Michigan. The last, I would say, the Iowa game, they were competitive. And then, of course, the Toledo game, they were leading at halftime against Toledo last week. So, yeah, I mean, I see reasons why you like Western Michigan here. I can't personally get involved with, C- versus C- teams playing head-to-head, especially when both of them have faced tough teams and both of them have, kind of struggled. So this is more of a observe game for me, watch and observe and see what we can use moving forward. But yeah, I think if I were to be forced to choose a side here, I'd probably be more interested in your side, Western Michigan, than Ball State, because to me, I have seen some semblance of improvement from them. More so offensively than defense is still rough, but I've seen more improvement from them offensively since the quarterback change. And I probably think Bourget has shown me more than Simonza has at quarterback for Ball State. Not to mention as bad as Western's defense has been, you could argue Ball State's been as bad, if not worse, on that side of the ball.
There's also a boost, and it's this time of year when it happens, when a team has been on the road for 3 weeks in the beginning of the year and they come home. Unfortunately, Ball State used that boost against Indiana State. And it was there. It was a clear boost. Now, it was against FCS competition, but, you've been on the road for weeks. You get home and it's exciting. You're playing well. And they used it up. There's going to be a boost here for Western Michigan. And I'm going to get paid because I bet on them. All right.
Well, 0-2 straight up in ATS on the road for Ball State as well. Keep that in mind. So it's not like we can really trust them going on the road here in this matchup. And I think last year, too, if you look at it, Ball State wasn't a great road team ATS. So, yeah, I hear you. I hear you with Western Michigan. It's just these two teams are neck and neck in my personal power ratings. I don't want to trust either one to make a play for me, quite honestly, in a close game. But I think I'm with you. If I were to favor one side, if I had to bet a side in this game, I would probably be on WMU, Western Michigan.
All right, so that is my third and final best bet for college football this weekend. Let's review. Oh, I did review the college football action just a second ago. So the only addition is me being on Western Michigan. We're going to work through MLB very quickly here. As
45 minutes that I've got.
As we can.
So we'll go through whatever we get through in 45 minutes.
Sweet. So we have Bobano till 1:30 Eastern. Let's roll. Boogeyman in the house. Let's get into MLB. We come off of board sweepage yesterday, and it felt good. Let's see if we can roll it again. We start at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Miami Marlins at Pittsburgh Pirates. Let me get the weather up here for this. PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then let me get Ballpark Pal up as well. And here we go. Park factors. Let's roll. Now, we don't know who is pitching. Do we now know? Is it Ryan Weathers against Quinn Priester? This might be a game we just have to basically skip over completely. It's Cabrera.
Edward Cabrera for Miami. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, that makes more sense. I mean, if you think you can win a game with Ryan Weathers, 7 innings he's had in the Marlins uniform, 11 earned runs, 9 Ks, 9 walks. Okay, so Cabrera will be pitching. We don't know who's pitching for the Pirates. I would like to have an opportunity to back Quinn Priester before the season ends. I know he's got a 7.86 ERA and a 1.66 WHIP, but he's coming off a really nice performance at Cincinnati. We know who he is. He's a first round draft pick, out of high school. So he's 23 years old. He's going to be, I believe, a starting pitcher for the Pirates. And he was excellent in AAA this year. I would love a chance to back him before the season ends. But I did not cap this for Cabrera. We do not know who is pitching for the Pirates. Sharpie says Marlins were up all night to be told no game. Got into Pittsburgh at 3 a.m. What time did they sleep? Says, I've seen this story. He's on the first 5 under 4.5. Doesn't want nothing to do with these bottom 5 pens the last 20 days. That's a very interesting angle to this. We don't need to hammer it too hard here, but that's a very interesting angle that I'm writing down, Sharpie. Thank you. What do you think of this spot, Bobano?
Yeah, I mean, this Miami team, you look at, obviously their situation, and they got it, you look at last night, they somehow pulled it out, against the Mets in the second game, 4-2. We'll see how they fare here tonight. Obviously, Miami is in a situation they're playing for their wild card lives. Cabrera being on the mound here, you look at what he's done lately, pretty solid overall. 2 runs or less in 5 straight starts for Edward Cabrera dating back to July 31st. Once he rejoined the rotation here in September, he's only given up 4 total runs in a span of 19 innings. So he's pitched very well for the Miami Marlins. It feels cheap on Miami. It feels like I should be on the Marlins here at this price. It really should. But Priester, what are we going to get from him? I think you're right. Long term, he'll be in this rotation. It was a brutal start for him this year. And I don't know if he's there yet, because here, if you look at in September, 4 runs, 4 innings against Washington, 4 runs, 6 innings against the Cubs. Did show improvement, though. Last start at Cincinnati, facing a team just like they will here, fighting for their playoff lives, 2 runs, 2 hits, 6 innings. So it definitely was improvement from Quinn Priester in that start. I'm not going to make this official at this. And because of the fact Miami got in late last night, that's really tough on their, body clock, if you will, playing here against Pitts. They should win. They need to win, obviously, but there's something off-putting about me going ahead and actually backing the Miami side. I lean Marlins, but I'm going to pass. I
love Sharpie's look on the first 5 under because I like Priester, and you've given the stats on Cabrera, who I have not prepared for. I think that Sharpie's got a very, very nice look here.
Priester did get better, like that he down 2 runs is his career is season best start last time out. So is that a buy sign on Priester? We'll see.
PNC Park minus 10% home runs, plus 15% doubles and triples, just plus 2% overalls. Ronnie Imbruglia says, Priester is a bullpen pitcher. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, because he's capable of, he's ready to go deep into games. He went 6 innings last start, and he's a first round pick out of high school. You don't need to necessarily, unless you can get a high schooler in the 7th round these days with the way the draft has changed, unless you're an elite high schooler, but
do you know that they're probably going to have to take the field Monday to finish that damn game, Marlins and Mets? That's what they're talking about right now.
Wow.
Finishing it on Monday, possibly 1 inning. They need to play 1 inning because it's the 9th inning. That's all that's left.
Crazy.
Talk about annoying.
Let's roll on here. Next up for us, 6:40 p.m. Eastern, Cleveland Guardians 75-84, 33-45 on the road. At the Tigers 76-83, 35-43 at home. We're Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. Let's get into the weather here for this one. 68 Fahrenheit, 4.2 miles per hour to right center. Stays between 4.2 and 4 miles per hour. Let's get into Ballpark Pal for this spot here in Comerica. Minus 19% home runs, minus 3% doubles and triples, and minus 2% overall. 12-15%. Thank you for the very kind words, my friend. I love it. I love you guys. Just inspire me so much. I love the opportunity that I have with you guys. I don't take it lightly. I'm very thankful and honored to have the opportunity. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Very quickly need to move over to MLB. And let's fire away here. So Quantrill versus Wentz. 2 pitchers that I care about. Obviously blurs your capping. Detroit opened up at plus 102. They're now minus 103. We've had a 5-cent move in their direction. From a total side of things, I'm going to get this second sheet up. I'll get it up here in a second. But from a total side of things, we are sitting at 8.5, but it's not a real 8.5. The under 8.5 is a plus 105. So this has been at 9 at one point. Now this opened up at 8. So this is a really big move to the over. So we have a 5-cent move to the Tigers and a big move to the over here. Let's go over to the cash flow then for this one and get to all markets. And here we go. So for Tigers, Guardians, 83% of the tickets, 76% of cash on the Tigers. It's just a 5-cent move towards them. 81% of the tickets and 78% cash on the over, and a huge move to the over. Quantrill in his last start, 1 earned run in 4 innings and a 2-1 loss at home versus the Orioles. They're not pushing these pitchers. No one's going to go deep in this game. Quantrill, 5.13 ERA, 1.45 whip. Disappointing season. A 269 points batting average on the road, 4.75 ERA there. Joey Wentz coming off 4-1 loss at the A's. Wasn't that bad. 2 earned runs over 5 2/3. He's been horrific at home. Hasn't won a game. 7.38 ERA. Opponents hitting 307 against them. The thing is, the Guardians don't hit lefties. 241, 685 OPS. Tigers versus righties, 233, 667. Tigers bullpen has been, that's versus righties, since September 1st. Tigers bullpen has been very good. Guardians bullpen has been very bad. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Guardians, Tigers.
Yeah, I'm going to go over 8.5. I agree with this slight. I am concerned about the lefty lack of proficiency, I should say, for the Guardians. But Wentz is just not someone I trust at all. I'm just hoping Cleveland can do enough here offensively here in this game. And Quantrill on the other side, I mean, Quantrill is a mystifying pitcher to me. 5.13 ERA on the season. He came back from his stint on the IL early in September, and look, he's pitched pretty well. 2 runs or less, 5 starts in the month of September. We'll see if he can keep that going here against Detroit, but Detroit's seen him a bit. His numbers against Detroit in the past are up and down, not the greatest. So I'm on over 8.5 here, minus 120. Bet online.
Bobano is on the over 8.5 at minus 120.
I would lean Detroit too. I worry about Cleveland in this spot. They had the win one for the Gipper send off of Terry Francona with the final home game when they beat Cincinnati, and that clearly meant something to them, right? Winning that final home game with Tito as the manager. Sure sounds like he's retiring, at the end of this season. So now going on the road, meaningless series finale. I think Detroit spot, but not with Wentz on the mound. Can't do it.
Let's roll on. Next spot for us. Okay, I got both up here. We can move a little quicker. Boston Red Sox at Baltimore Orioles. Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland. The final time all year where I will mention the Boston Red Sox, and Jose will appear at the bottom of the screen. And they're still at 76 wins, Jose. Still, imagine if I was sweating this 76.5 that I thought I was going to cash all year long.
Can't believe I'm going to be betting on this team tonight, but damn it, I am.
Well, you have Slick Nick Pivetta on the mound, coming off a great start at home versus the White Sox. So, and he's been really strong on the road all year. 3.93 ERA, 213 opponents batting average. John Means is could be an ace in the sleeve for the Orioles here, and he's still trying to find himself. Not results-wise, his results have been great. 1 earned run, a solo shot, and a 2-on win at the Guardians last out. Now, we just touched on the Guardians' inability to hit lefties, where the Red Sox are doing the same shit right now. 232, 641 OPS in September against lefties, while the Orioles are 262, 757 OPS. If you have any interest on the Red Sox, you want to move on them before the Orioles lineup comes out, because the Orioles lineup will be missing key pieces, and because they clinched yesterday 100 wins. And thank you, Baltimore Orioles. Thank you. You've helped me very, very much. Okay, so this is our final Red Sox game on Betting with the Bag all year. This total has dropped down to 7.5. It opened at 8. And on the money line here, we have Pinnacle hanging a minus 115 on the Orioles. And they opened up minus 139. So as expected, the market's moving towards the Red Sox. Much love, Justin McElvey, my guy. Matty I says, my guy Chris Bassett is a big game pitcher. Yes, I was very proud of your tutelage watching him pitch yesterday. 200 innings. Take it away, Jose. Red Sox, Orioles. You have a plan here.
Yep, Red Sox first 5 money line. Easy bet. The only bet I have on the card so far, maybe the only bet I'll make today. It's, one of those cases where obviously the Orioles clinched, partied it up. The last time they clinched something, the playoffs alone, they clinched and they went to Houston the next day and kicked the Astros' ass in a very high-scoring game. But I'm hoping that the division party goes a little bit harder and they'll be sitting guys. So Red Sox first 5 money line to me. I expect them to start slow. Obviously, the real question is, will the Red Sox score? They're basically tanking at this point, but I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited for what the Red Sox are going to be. Yamamoto, they're in the mix for Ohtani. I can't wait.
I cannot believe that there's 3 games left and I'd be sweating this. After cash, I would have counted as a cash all year. Thank God I'm not. Bobano, Red Sox, Orioles here. What's your move?
Yeah, I mean, this is just an angle that I've been betting for the last couple of weeks when it's popped up, and that's especially with no day off following it, fading the team that just clinched a playoff spot or clinched a division, and they have that, oh man, I'm sick of it, the dopey, ridiculous champagne, goggle celebrations, beer celebrations, and gosh, it seems like now we're just, giving these guys a party for every little thing they do. What happened to the days that you won the pennant? It took until then to have a big time celebration in the clubhouse. That's back in the old days. Feels like an old man rant. You'd actually win an AL or NL pennant. You'd win a World Series before you had a celebration like that. Now you're just clinching a damn wild card spot. You could be out in 3 more games, and they're celebrating like that with the beer and the champagne and the goggles. So it is what it is. It's new age. I get it. But Baltimore did that last night after clinching the division. So yeah, for me, it's Boston. And look, Pivetta, you could do worse than having Pivetta on the mound for the Red Sox. He's actually been decent. He's been solid. The numbers against Baltimore are okay. So Baltimore, and I'm going to do a double here. Boston first 5 plus 105. Boston full game plus 115. Both at Bet365.
And what did you get? Did you tweet this out already, Jose?
Yeah, I did. I got it minus 110.
That sucks.
I was going to say, get that Bet365 account open. Can't use it down there.
Yeah, that's what happens in Texas. Yeah, first 5 money line minus 110. I eat the shit, but whatever.
It's all good. Great job yesterday. It was great to see us bounce back, man. So your only spot on the board, is that right, Jose?
Yeah. Only spot on the board. Everything else is pretty disgusting, and I'm not gonna put my blood money on the Mariners. I bet on them every time They have a big spot, and they seem to lose every time. And when I don't bet on them, JP Crawford finds a way to win. So I'm not betting them. I'm just gonna watch. I'm gonna hope they sweep the Rangers, and then from then on, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Can you believe?
Do you know that the Seattle sweep of Texas throws in the unlikely possibility the Jays could miss the playoffs?
Yes, it does. But also the Mariners could sweep. I don't think that's happening because I don't think the Rays are going to try, but they could sweep the Rangers and not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts?
Hilarious?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It pisses me off because everyone knows I've been anti-Rangers all year, and they're going to backdoor their way in the playoffs because they just dominated the fucking Mariners all year. But at least I'm glad that you've cashed the Orioles, Jim. I was looked at like a dummy when I said that the Orioles were just as good as the Braves earlier in the season. Everyone was like, "It's fucking idiots, the fucking Braves, dude." But I'll be the only one saying that they're going to make the World Series this year again. So it'll be fun.
I'm going to bet them every game I expect to in the playoffs. I expect to bet them every game at this point. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to handle, but I'm not going to move on the futures market. I'm just going to bet them game to game at this point. I think that makes the most sense. But Jose is on the Red Sox first 5, as is Bobano, but he's doubled up. Bobano first 5 and full game. Dabby Cab moved on La Tech first half plus a half at -115. Thank you, Jose, my man. And it is Friday, so you have C-Mac with you on Say Hey Plays today.
Yep, final Stay Hey Plays of the regular season. Still figuring out what we're going to do for the playoffs. Will be a whole lot of fun. Connor Mack and I, like I said, I only have one play, but Connor, I'm sure, has a good amount of plays, and I'm sure I'll find some before then. By the way, you're right about the Orioles, betting them every game. As well as the team in Philadelphia. I like them as well. And unfortunately, the Braves are going to be a little bit too pricey probably. But Phillies-Braves matchup is going to be a great, great time.
The problem is that I would have loved to back Arizona. And now I can't.
Well, and they don't even get Zach Gallen game 1 because of, the schedules and all that stuff. They're going to give him game 2. So. Not good times.
Too bad. I would have loved Arizona as a huge dog against the team would be a fun bet. But great stuff, Jose, my man. Thank you and have a great show here. And we'll bring you on when we close up here. Have a great show with C-Mac. We're going to roll on Bobano and I, 7:07 p.m. Eastern. Tampa Bay Rays up Toronto Blue Jays. And is it possible, first off, that Savali doesn't start tonight?
As he's listed right now, we have to assume until we hear something different, he's starting. But it wouldn't surprise me if they pull the old switcheroo right before first
wouldn't
pitch.
Surprise me either. Let's break this down here. And I finally got to sit with Savali's numbers last night for a while, and it's strange. I really feel like the Guardians pulled a fast one here. You got to wonder when the team is
Guardians just don't put good pitching on a silver platter for a team in a trade. It's kind of weird. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm completely with you. This total opened up at 8. It dropped at 8:12 this morning. It dropped to 7.5, and it's right back at 8. So we've had no movement on the total from a side perspective because they got a great prospect. Well, we think. I mean, you never know with that stuff. The Rays are sitting here at plus 129. That line hasn't moved. That doesn't make them. That makes sense to me. Excuse me. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And then you would think that the Rays would be bigger dogs here. They're going to completely let go, and this means so much to the Jays. 31% of the tickets, 65% of the cash is on the Jays money line. 47% of tickets, 68% cash is on the over here. So Aaron Savali, last start, 3 innings, 6 earned runs, and 8-3 loss at home versus the Angels. This year for the Guardians, he had a 2.34 ERA and a 1.04 whip, 13 games started. He's very good. And then for the Rays, we talk about all the time how the Rays don't walk any batters. That means so much to them. Don't walk batters. You look at all their star stats. I mean, Glasnow's had some issues with it, but that's generally their mindset. You don't give free bases. So his strikeout to walk ratio is much better. Only walked 9 batters, 9 starts. In saying that, he's got a 5.36 ERA, a 1.33 whip. He's won 2 games in 9 starts. On the road, he's been good this year, but worse in a Rays uniform. Going up against Kikuchi, who does look like there's some fatigue of late. 9-5 win at these Rays. They just saw him. Makes me a little nervous. And the Rays are smashing lefties right now. 297, 874 OPS, while the Jays are 235, 737 OPS. Rays bullpen's been very good. Kikuchi has given me a little bit of concern, or I'd already be on the Jays. Nate Dogg is on the Kikuchi over strike prop. What is your, and then that would make me nervous too, because I don't know how deep he's going to go in this game, but any sign of, like, he's certainly, the way the Rays are hitting lefties and the way they just hit him, I don't think he sees the lineup a third time. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Rays, Jays. Yeah,
I'm on over 7.5 here in this game. It's very, very dicey to bet this fucking Blue Jays team over the total with that lineup. Even last night, man, it was a struggle to finally get things rolling, even against Luke Weaver last night in that game. That tells you the plight of that team sometimes, where even, struggling pitching, they can struggle, the Blue Jays lineup. And that's my concern here, because Savali is an epitome of struggling pitching right now. 5.36 ERA since joining the Rays. Hasn't been good. He got lit up by an Angels team with no Trout, no Tani the last time he pitched, which is a terrible sign. 6 runs, 7 hits, 3 innings. He's given up consistently since he's been in a Rays uniform, 3 runs or more in the majority of his starts. And you mentioned it. I've got concerns about Kikuchi. I kind of wanted to back Toronto here, but I didn't love -140, and I didn't love Kikuchi's current form to want to back Toronto at -140 either. He got ripped by the Rays last time, 3 runs, 9 hits. It lasted just 4 innings. Just saw him 5 days ago. He got bombed by Texas, 6 runs, 5 innings. Did have a good start against the Yankees in between, but he's had some, 3 of his 5 starts in the month of September. He has given up at least 3 runs. So if I expect Savali to give up 3 runs, which he's been doing regularly, I think Kikuchi will give up maybe at least 3 runs. 7.5 sure looks short to me. So Rays Blue Jays over 7.5 here for me. Let me just check the price I got. It was -115 at Bet365.
You got it locked and loaded. I thought I was going to move on the Jays today. I really did. Now I'm a little unsure. Maybe it might be a live bet. I don't know exactly what to do now. Let's move on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia Phillies 89-70, 40-38 on the road at the New York Mets, 72-86, 40-37 at home. We're at Citi Field in Queens, New York. Taiwan Walker versus Tyler Megel. Taiwan Walker 15-5.
Oh, we can skip this. We can skip it.
Oh, it's skipped. Yeah, sorry, you guys. They wrote it postponed. Yeah. Beautiful. 7:20 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Washington Nationals 69-90, 35-43 on the road at the Braves, 103-56, 51-27 at home. We're at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Trevor Williams going up against Alan Winans. And let's talk about Alan here. Let me I've got his all the notes on him set up, but what the hell is it? Sorry, I got too many things up here. I guess it's gone now. Okay, I'll pull it back up. Interesting. Okay, I thought I had it up here. I'm certain I did, but not here. It's just Keaton Wynn. So I'll pull it up. But let's talk about the spot. Nats versus righties, 245, 722 OPS in September versus righties. Braves, 276, 856. Nats bullpen's been quite good, 3.98 ERA. Trevor Williams coming off that 9-5 loss at the Brewers. He only was there for 2 innings. On the road, he's been poor. He's a tricky pitcher to back. If you use the eye test, he's terrible, but sometimes he's okay at home. On the money line side of things, he's sitting right now at plus 235. He opened up at plus 225. Opened up plus 225 now, plus 235. So 10 cents against these Nats. From a total standpoint here, we're sitting at a 10.5, minus 111 to the under. So we've had a 2-cent move to the over. So very little market movement here in this one. And then we'll go up to the cash flow for this spot. What we have is 15% of the tickets and 32% of the cash on the Nats. So, the public on the Braves, but the bigger bets, some have come in on the Nats. 61% of tickets, 59% cash on the over. It's had no movement. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Nats, Braves.
Are you guys ready for Dorian Thompson-Robinson at quarterback for Cleveland on Sunday? Because it's starting to look like that might be the case. Deshaun Watson sat out practice, breaking news. Downgraded, significantly downgraded to the point where he's questionable at best. And there's people starting to think he may not play now Sunday against Baltimore. So keep that in mind with that game. So DTR is next man up there. He was great in the preseason, pretty good preseason quarterback, but see how he does in this, if that's the case. I mean, it's not been set in stone yet that Deshaun Watson won't play, but that's someone that already bet the Browns. That's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on there with that news.
My under is probably looking stronger,
Yep.
but wild turn of events.
Shoulder injury. It's a shoulder injury. Said they didn't feel good enough in practice to be throwing the ball. Shoulder bothering him. So
Wow.
There you go. Shoulder injury. Yep. So we'll see. But that's not, and as you would expect now, yeah, the money's coming in on Baltimore as we speak, as you would expect. So there you go. This game, Washington and Atlanta. I keep betting Atlanta overs, Jimmy, and they keep last night that finally stayed under. But this team, even since I think they've started to realize, and they showed it against the Cubs, who had everything to play for. That even though they've clinched everything, it's a situation where they want to rev up, I think, for the playoffs. They don't want to go into the playoffs, treading water, ice cold. They want to get their game geared up, and kind of looks like Atlanta's doing that. And their offense has been great. They've scored 5, 6, 7, and 8 here in the last 4 games, scoring runs in bunches. Washington's lost 3 straight, 5 of the last 6. Trevor Williams for the Nationals, 2 of the last 3 starts for him have been ugly. In fact, the Milwaukee start wasn't good either. He only lasted 2 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits. Then he got crushed by the Dodgers, crushed by the Marlins as well. So it's been a rough September for Trevor Williams of the Nationals. Winans actually has pitched pretty solid the last 2 games, and including against this Washington team just recently. We'll see if he can pick it up here in this one. I'm on the fence here with this, whether it full game over or Braves team total, but Braves team total is 6.5 in some spots. So, I'm not going to touch it at that number. I feel better with looking at the full game over, hoping Washington can do a little bit for me here in this game. So Washington, Atlanta, over 10, -116 at Bet Rivers for me.
You got it. Bobano on the over 10. Was that, sorry, -116?
-116, yep.
Okay, you got it locked in here. Winans was not thought of highly as a prospect, and he was very good at Gwinnett this year. Very, very good in Gwinnett. 9-4, a 2.85 ERA, 1.08 WHIP, and that's in 126 innings. So he's this guy he's earned this opportunity, and I have a feeling that they fight for him here and play for him. 28-year-old earning this opportunity. But I mean, can anybody back a team that's not trying as this big of a favorite? And the answer is no. So I can't do it. But okay, let's move on. 7:40 p.m. Eastern, San Diego Padres at Chicago White Sox, where guaranteed rate field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's take a look at the weather on the south side here. It's 66 Fahrenheit, 6.6 miles per hour in, stays between 6.6 and 5.7 miles per hour. See what Ballpark Pal thinks about guaranteed rate. Plus 13% home runs, -22% doubles and triples, -1% overall. Get into the line history then for this one. Cease versus Martinez. We have Cease at +130, opened up at +124. What the hell happened to this guy this year? I mean, just shock and awe. Let's get into the total for this one. Sitting at 8.5, juice to the over. It opened up at 8.5 and it dropped to 8, 3 different times. Not only that, but it got up to 9 at 7:54 this morning. So market just all over the map on this one. And when we get over to the cash flow for it, we have 59% of the tickets, 81% of the cash on the White Sox, 89% of the tickets, 99% cash on the under. And Nick Martinez, last start 4 innings. You don't want him out there any longer than that. It was a 5-2 extra inning loss at home versus the Cardinals. On the road, he struggled. At home, he's been very good. On the road, 5.02 ERA, 298 opponent's batting average. Then we have Dylan Cease coming off a great start at the Red Sox. I mean, is he going to finish off the year strong? 4.33 ERA at home, 243 opponent's batting average. Maybe he does. Maybe he does. And maybe the White Sox are worth betting here. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Padres, White Sox.
Yeah, I don't want to ask either of these teams to do anything for me at this stage of the season. Not hit, not pitch, because sometimes they're all over the map. White Sox, sometimes they get the hitting, they don't get the pitching, and vice versa. And you could say the same about the Padres. Pedro Avila, by the way, is going to be the primary after Martinez here for the Padres. Cease for the White Sox, you mentioned, up and down season. Yeah, clear pass for me.
Yeah, the public is sitting here going, well, Cease has been looking good, and especially on that last start. But so the bets are coming in on them and the line's moving against them. And that's just not a recipe that I want to be involved in. All right, let's move on to a spot that I was actually going to bet before the show started, but the line was moving against me and I still kind of like it. So I was like, you know what, let's just talk it out and see if you still want it. Cubbies, Brewers, American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now here's a game that means something. And it's 62 Fahrenheit, 60 Fahrenheit. I'm not sure if the roof will be open. I imagine that probably won't be. So at this point, they have the roof open here. Ballpark Paladins minus 13%, doubles and triples minus 9% overall. We'll see if that is the case. From a line history standpoint, we'll start with the total in this one. This total is sitting at 8.5 at Pinnacle. So it opened up at 8, juiced to the under, and moved to 8.5 at 9:54 a.m. That was less than 2 hours after it had been out. So we have a move to the over. And let's go to the money line in this spot. Move over here. The the money line is sitting now at minus 110 for Milwaukee. So the Cubs open up minus 112 and they move to plus 102. It's funny because I felt like this would be the spot on the road, where Hendricks would be okay. And that's not being the case. Even, I guess it's the opposite though. So the full game has moved towards Milwaukee, but the first 5 has moved towards Chicago. That more fits my dynamic because I was thinking about backing Chicago first 5 here. Let's see what BetOnline has done with the line movement on the first 5. And they opened it up minus 110. It dropped down to even money because that's where the line was moving towards Milwaukee. Now it's right back to where it started. And I think I can move on this. Matty Ice says Hendricks dominates the Brewers. My whole plan here is to trust Kyle Hendricks in this crucial spot on the road where he's been much better than he's been at home. He's only allowed 4 home runs in 61 1/3. He's got 222 opponents batting average. Going up against Colin Ray, who has been taken out of the starting rotation. He hasn't started the game since September 8th. His last appearance was, on Tuesday? His last appearance was on Tuesday. And it throws an inning there. At home, it's got a 5.19 ERA and a 267 opponent's batting average. The Cubs are hitting righties decent in September, almost the same numbers as Brewers. Brewers are a little bit stronger. The Brewers bullpen is elite. I would like to back Kyle Hendricks first 5 here, but I wanted to talk it out first. Take it away here. Is that El Dorado? I didn't know. Jason Meyer, I didn't realize that you were El Dorado. I was thinking about you last couple of days. I was like, man, we haven't seen El Dorado in so long. El Dorado came to Pubapalooza with us.
Yeah.
Oh, El Dorado. Yeah, you're the man, El Dorado. Great to see you. I didn't realize you were Jason Meyer, my man. Damn. I will remember that next time. Sammy on the Cubs first 5. I'd like to be on it too. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Cubbies, Brewers.
Yeah, I'm on actually double up here, first 5 and full game on the Cubs. And look, I actually took a shot with them in the first game against Atlanta, and they blew it. They had a lead, and they basically blew the game with their bull. That's why I'm splitting it up. I don't trust that Cubs bullpen. It hasn't been very good, but I think it's a bounce back spot. Milwaukee's locked up their NL Central Division. I don't like Colin Ray all that much. I mean, it does feel like it's a good spot here for the Cubs. And look, as bad as that series was against Atlanta, we know how good Atlanta is. So we can't just totally throw the Cubs in the dumpster, for losing all 3 games in that series against a very good Atlanta team. It's probably a solid bounce back situation here for them in this game. Kyle Hendricks, again, on the road. You're right. Used to be pitched better at Wrigley, not this year. This year he's been better on the road. 3.08 ERA on the road this year for Kyle Hendricks. So big motivational edge. He's pitched well enough on the road. And he's dominated the Brewers. Go and look at his starts against the Brewers this year and last year. Very good. So, yes, completely useless by September, Mike M. I said that last night about the Cubs. Hopefully, they split the script, at least for tonight. So, Cubs first 5, full game. We'll split it up. Cubs first 5 is minus 105, BetMGM, and full game plus 102 at Pinnacle.
You got it locked in. I'm going to jump on the Cubbies first 5. DC Capper, Ravens +3, Jacksonville -3, and the Giants +1. I'm also on the Giants, but I'm a little more nervous after watching the Lions play so well, and the Seahawks were able to take care of them. It's just such a the Lions and both teams' lines and Seahawks have been difficult.
Spot screams Giants, though. I still kind of lean Giants there personally. Yeah.
I've bet them. BJ saying Ravens +1.5. Now there's my guy Jansen in the house. Great to see you, Jansen Bonzen. All right, so Cubbies first 5 for me. So at least I'll have some MLB action. Cubs first 5 and full game for Bobano. Let's move on to 8:10 p.m. Eastern. New York Yankees at Kansas City Royals. We're at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. These Yankees and the Royals are playing good ball, man. I was expected it earlier in the year. This total is sitting at 9.5. It opened up at 9. We've had a half-run move to the over. The side is sitting on, Harold's on the Seahawks. Look, I get it. It's going to be a really fun Monday night live stream. I'll tell you that much. The booze will be flowing. The money line standpoint here. Oh, shit. I'm on first 5. That's the problem. I move over to full game. And I am back there now. So from a full game perspective, we have the Yankees opening up at -141. They're now -144. And cash in Yankees Royals is 63% of the tickets, 72% of the cash on the Royals, 42% of the tickets, 55% cash on the over. Carlos Rodon, what a disappointment he's been. He wasn't bad in that last start. Quality start, but just not the pitcher anyone expected. 3-7, 5.74 ERA. On the road, 30 2/3, 2-3, 5.28 ERA. In my previews with Sharpie, by the way, Sharpie's going to be joining us for the Rangers-Mariners game. He's got action on that one, so he's going to jump on. But in my breakdown with Sharpie, I shat all over the Yankees and bet their season win total under, and that one worked out. Jordan Lyles, he's gotten better as the season goes on. I mean, it's easy to say when you're the worst pitcher in baseball in the first half of the season, but he's been better. And that back-to-back starts against Houston aren't easy. In the second one, he looked pretty good. 5 innings, didn't allow a run. At home, he's been better than he's been on the road. Yankees aren't hitting righties. Royals are. Royals are hitting righties much better than the Yankees. Yankees bullpen advantage there. I wonder, is this a spot where the dog's live, or is Carlos Rodon going to try to get right to have some momentum going into the offseason? If that's the case, then I don't want to be on Kansas here, but the Royals have been hitting lefties hard, hitting righties hard, hitting everybody hard. Take it away, Bobano.
They have been. I'm certainly not stepping in front of Kansas City as a home underdog and laying a price with this Yankees team on the road. That's just absolutely no way that's going to happen. Yeah, and I'm hearing that too, that Aaron Judge may not be in the lineup here tonight. He sat Tuesday. We'll see on that. No lineups have been made official just yet. I haven't moved on this game yet. Other than I lean Royals and I lean over. I don't trust either pitcher. And I certainly think with the way Kansas City has not mailed it in here down the stretch of the regular season, they've played well. They played spoiler in so many recent series. The Houston series, swept Houston, swept Cleveland. They did get swept by Detroit. They weren't necessarily into that series because that's why I got off the Royals against Detroit, because they just had that big series against Houston, playing spoiler. Then you're going on the road and facing a team out of it, and they didn't bring that same momentum into that series. But this is their home finale, at Kauffman Stadium. I think it gets them, wanting to finish the season on a solid note at home against the Yankees to end the season. So no official plays, but I lean to the Royals and I lean to the over.
Dan Kelly says, hope you guys got on Europe. That was a great call, Dan. Dan, all over Europe in the Ryder Cup.
They're up 4-0 after the first 4 balls. I woke up this morning 4-0 already for Europe. We're U.S. Yeah, they're in trouble.
God, Brandon Great saying KC team total over spot. I wonder if the Royals are worth it. God, they're a tricky.
That Victor Hovland, man, what a fucking golfer he is. He's going to win a major next year, guaranteed. I've already bet Victor Hovland. I'm not a big golf capper, but I've already bet Victor Hovland to win each major next year. Masters, U.S. Open, PGA Championship, Open Championship.
Oh, nice.
Because those prices aren't going to be as good next year at that time. No way.
Oh, smart, yeah.
Yep.
I think that So is there any – I know we got to move on. We only have you for a few more minutes, but is there any thought that Rodon will continue that – what he sort of started building in that Diamondbacks game and try to end the season strong? Is that why you're not on the Royals?
That too. Plus, I didn't love seeing them get swept by the Tigers. But at this plus the reason I'm not on the Royals is look who's starting for them. Jordan Lyles. It's not like I'm running to back Jordan Lyles either. for the Kansas City Royals, even though he's had a couple of starts here and there down the stretch that have been a little bit better. Like, Boston, he pitched well at the beginning of September, 2 runs in 8 innings, 3 runs at 5.1 innings against the White Sox. His last start against Houston, 2 hit shutout ball in 5 innings. Like, he's pitched a little bit better here, Lyles, but that's another reason why I didn't actually bet the Royals here.
Gifted Cartel moving on the over 9. Rant's thinking about moving on these Royals. All right, let's roll on. Next up for us, Minnesota Twins, the Colorado Rockies. We're at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Take a look at the weather for this spot. 75 Fahrenheit, 11.5 miles per hour right to left. But then it comes in, and it's between 10.1 miles per hour and 8.8 for the rest of the game. And, of course, very offensive. Plus 28% home runs, plus 25% doubles and triples, and plus 28% runs. Let's go into and Judge not in. God, that makes it more appealing. I mean, that offense is so bad. So bad without Judge.
Without Judge right now, yeah, that's a rough Yankee offense.
Maybe
that pushes me a little more to Kansas, but I want to wait to actually make sure he's not in.
Okay, back to this Twin spot. We have Joe Ryan versus Ty Block. Take a look at the line history here for this Rockies game. And we have here we go. Sorry, my bad. It's sitting at plus 166 are the Rockies. They opened up plus 168, so no movement there. From a total side of things, we have it's sitting at an 11.5. This opened up at 11, so a half-run move to the over. We get into the cash flow for this one. We have 68% of tickets and 76% cash on the Rockies, 75% of tickets, 86% cash on the under, and yet it's moving towards the over. Joe Ryan, he had that strange 7-start debacle where he was just horrible. Went on the IL for a groin injury. Whether or not there was an actual injury there is, up for debate. And then he came back and he's looked like old Joe Ryan again. It was a good start last out, 9-3 win at home over the Angels, 10 strikeouts. He looked good. But he struggled on the road this year. I don't know how much. I'd have to look closer at how many of those 7 games were affected by these numbers, or affected these numbers, I should say. Ty Block, 5.42 ERA, 1.63. I've always liked this guy. He's an old veteran, is a journeyman. Last start wasn't very good. 4-3 loss to the Cubs, 4 runs over 5 1/3. At home, he's a funny pitcher because he gets hit all over the field, but they're not always barreling up on him. His opponent's batting average at home is 362, but only 3 home runs allowed in 30 1/3. He gets soft contact. The Twins are raking lefties right now. Their offense is just rolling. 314, 881 OPS in September. Rockies is 245, 698 versus righties. The way the Twins are hitting lefties makes me not want to have anything really to do with this game, because I do not want to back any team that has no reason to try or play hard. Twins bullpen has actually started pitching really well for the first time all year. Eric Jones says Colorado's a 10-5 straight up spot here. Dabby Cab with a spot on the Rangers Mariners game, which we will be talking about. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Twinkies, Rockies.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'd lean to the Twins -1 because I just think they should be able to do some damage here, but not when you're right. You've clinched the division. That being said, they have won, 3 of the 4 games they played since clinching the AL Central. So they haven't exactly mailed it in. They finally lost yesterday to Oakland. Funky Cold Medina got the better of them in that game. We'll see how they fare. I like Joe Ryan, that but on the road, we'll see how he fares. It's, I don't think he's pitched in Colorado before. So let's see how he fares with those elements. But you're right. Ty Block, they should be able to do some damage, but it's just going to be a lean for me to Minnesota. You're right. To lay a price like this on the road, are they going to get stoked with the playoffs right around the corner for a meaningless road series finale against Colorado, a really bad team? I'm not so sure. So it's pass for me.
And Sharpie saying that he's preached this with Burns, Wheeler, Gray, and Moore. Now Ryan, these guys with no out props are on an innings limit. They're on an innings limit. Gift the Cartel says, you think the Rockies are going to give Block run support today? I don't want to trust the Rockies bats ever. So it doesn't appeal to me here. And we're about to get into the playoffs where we've been very successful over the last few years. So I don't need to reach too much here in football flying right now. So Bobano, we have 5 games left on the card, but we're 2 minutes away from your out spot Do you want to talk Reds Cardinals? Is there anything else you want to talk about on the card before you bounce?
Yeah, we'll do Reds Cardinals, and then I'll give my selections for the rest of the game. And there aren't many, to be quite honest. But yeah, we'll do one more game.
Cool. 8:15 p.m. Eastern, Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. These Cardinals have been just an abomination this year. 69-90, 33-45 at home. And the Reds have, laid some groundwork for some hope as they move forward. Brandon Williamson against Jake Woodford. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Move over here. So for the total, it's sitting at 9.5 at Pinnacle. The other books have a juiced 9. They just moved it to 9.5 at 11:32 a.m. This was initially juiced to the under 9, so it's a pretty legit move towards the over. From a money line side of things, we are sitting with the Reds at minus 116. They opened up at minus 119, so a very small move towards the St. Louis Cardinals. Then we'll move over to the cash flow for this one. 74% of the tickets, 88% of cash on the Reds. The line not moving. 39% of tickets and 92% of cash on the over. Well, that's a spot where the line is moving. So we can respect that. And KD says if Reds don't win this game, they should shut down the organization. Brandon Williamson coming off 4-2 win at home versus the Pirates, 4 1/3, 2 earned runs. There's been sightings of him being the elite prospect that we thought he was going to be but he's not been very good overall. But he's got it in him. He might be a pitcher that we really want to back next year. And Jake Woodford coming off 3 2/3 and a 5-2 extra inning win at the Padres. He struggled at home, 312 opponents batting average. He's allowed 6 jacks over 27 2/3. But his issue is he doesn't get strikeouts and he walks a lot of batters. So it's not a very good combination. And it's really reared its ugly head at home at Busch Stadium, where he's got 16 Ks and 14 walks. The Cardinals aren't hitting lefties at all. 227, 622 OPS. You would think that this would be a spot where Brandon Williamson would step up and pitch well here. Reds versus righties, 236, 762. Cards bullpen starting to pitch really well. I guess, you would think that Brandon Williamson this would be a great spot for him. What do you think, Bobano?
Yeah, I'm going to take Cincy here. I mean, this price to me is good enough to me, cheap enough, reasonable enough. Minus 115 at Bet365 for Cincinnati in this one. I think Williamson, there is hope for him. I know it hasn't been great first season here with full season with Cincinnati, but all of a sudden, remember we always say Cardinals against lefties for the longest time. Well, last 10 games, only 245 average against lefties. So they've kind of leveled off. And obviously that's been part of their overall disappointing season. And you're right. You mentioned it about Jake Woodford. The numbers at Busch Stadium aren't great this year. 5.20 ERA for him at Busch Stadium, which isn't great numbers. And we've seen some rough pitching performances from him here in this ballpark. Definitely think Brandon Williamson long-term and maybe currently too has the better arm. And actually he's pitched a little better last 2 outings. He's got to pitch deeper into games. Like he's only going 4.1 innings. So pitch count again has been gotten up in a few of these starts, but I still think this price cheap enough. And the Reds aren't totally eliminated yet. They're not going to get it. They're not going to make a wild card, but they're not totally eliminated yet. They're 1.5 games back. So they have to take the field tonight thinking, hey, we're still alive mathematically. Just win this game and let the chips fall where they may. Cincinnati for me, minus 115.
Cincinnati minus 150. I'm surprised the market's not moving towards them, or they're not bigger favorites here. It doesn't really make sense because they're trying, right? They're not mathematically eliminated. So you'd think they would care here. We have 4 games left. We're going to quickly run through them for Bobano and hear his action on them. A's, Angels, what did you do?
Pass for me on this one.
Astros, Diamondbacks, JP France, Zach Allen. Looking forward to talk about this one. What did you do?
This is an interesting one, a big series. Houston's trying to not only nail down a playoff spot, still maybe win the AL West, and Arizona's fighting like crazy to be a wild card team. So this is a huge, huge, huge series. I almost took Arizona and Gallen at home here with Houston coming off the big series that they had against Seattle, but they did have the day off. But I didn't pull the trigger, just to lean to the Diamondbacks for me.
I think when we talk it out, I hope I end up on the Diamondbacks first 5. I would be very pleased if that was the case. We'll see though. Rangers, Mariners, Eovaldi versus Woo, and he just got lit up by these Texas Rangers. We already heard Dabby Cab on the over 3.5. The thing is that we've seen pitchers who get lit up by the opponent pitch against them 5 days later and shove, and bad pitchers do it too. Not that Woo's got a very high upside, but Lyles did that against the Astros after getting lit up. He faced them again and shut them down. And this is the biggest game of Brian Woo's career. What are you doing here?
That's true. That does concern me about the bet I made in this game, but I'm still on it anyway, and that's over 7.5 here, minus 120 for Texas and Seattle. I know it was low scoring, and I know it's that playoff feel to it with these two teams. It's like a playoff series right now. It's that important, but I know it was low scoring. Good pitchers duel last night in the first game, Montgomery and Gilbert. I think we're going to see something different. Eovaldi struggled those last few starts. Woo just got lit up by this Texas lineup. I still don't trust either bullpen, even though they were both good last night. So 7.5, I went over the total.
Got you locked there, over 7.5 minus 120. And finally, the Dodgers Giants with nothing on the line. Lance Lynn and Keaton Wynn going up against each other. Any move there?
No, pass. So there you go.
Bobano, excellent work. I will go over all of your action once more with everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for making time with us, sharing your hard work with us. We love it. Have yourself a giant weekend. And of course, know that he will be on our Monday night live stream. And we got a beauty with Giants, Seahawks. People are going to be on either side. It's going to be so much fun. And we're rocking live right now. This is the ROI is the best I've ever had it in my life live. So let's keep that going. And of course, hitting the books every Monday. Got to catch it. Great show. And we'll be showcasing all those college football games now for the next 24 hours at least. So thank you, Bobano, so much. Any last words for the Capper Sporting Show?
No, just looking forward to a nice weekend coming up. Lots of football, obviously. Baseball regular season winding down. We're closing in on the start of the NHL season, which I'm looking forward to. So lots going on. Tune in to all the content all weekend long at Pub Sports Radio. And, of course, you're right, Seahawks, Giants. I'm glad I'll be on the Taylor Swift free zone primetime game this week on the live stream. That'll be nice. So good luck to everyone in the chat. Cash some tickets. Jimmy, Jose, we'll see you later. Have a good weekend.
There he is, Bobano in the house. Follow him on Twitter. And I'm sorry that you think of Billy Ocean. I don't know any Billy Ocean songs. I think of Wu-Tang Clan, man. And Jose Bouquet back in business. Jose, we peeked our head out of the ditch yesterday. Let's keep it going. Is it too late for us to fix our season? Yes, it is. But it's not too late to have a little bit of hope. And build that bankroll back up. So let's get right to work. Jose, it is great to see you, my friend. 9:38 p.m. Eastern. Oakland Athletics at Los Angeles Angels. We're at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. Kenny Waldekuck going up against Chase Silseth. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. 67 Fahrenheit, 8.2 miles per hour to left center. Stays between 8.2 and 6.7 miles per hour. Let's move over to Ballpark Pal and see what they think of this dilapidated ballpark. Plus 3% home runs, plus 1% doubles and triples, plus 0% runs for Arte's ballpark. Waldekuck versus Silseth. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have these Oakland A's at plus 126. They opened up at plus 128. Wow. You can put lipstick on a pig, and if you do, you still want a plus 200 line on the pig. This one's at plus 126. Is that enough to back the sad sack Athletics? From a total side of thing, we're sitting at side of things. God, I'm barely putting words together here. This total opened up yesterday at 5:34 p.m. at 8.5, and nobody gave a fuck. Nobody could care less. Line didn't move because no one's betting it. Let's get over to the cash flow here. And we have 2,445 tickets counted, Jose. 2,445 tickets counted.
That's not many. That is not many.
30% of the tickets and 60% of the cash are on your Oakland Athletics. 57% of the tickets, 73% of cash is on the under. We have Waldekuck coming off a nice performance, 8-2 win at home versus the Tigers, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks, no walks, but he's been atrocious on the road. 13 home runs allowed in 69 and a third, 268 opponent's batting average. And Chase Silseth, I have no idea what you're going to get from him. I don't. There's times where I'm like, oh, this guy's got a future. This guy's pretty good. And then there's other times where I'm like, oh, he's terrible. At home, he's allowed 6 home runs over 24 2/3, but he's held opponents to a 202 batting average. He only made it through 3 1/3 in his last start, 5-3 win at the Mets. A's versus righties since September 1st, 236.95. Angels versus lefties, 218, 646. A's bullpen, just a 4.53 ERA. It's been pretty good. It's gotten better as the season went on. And the Angels bullpen, 5.75 ERA. Take it away here. Floor is yours. A's, Angels.
Yeah, I think in these ship bum games, you just take the underdog and hope they come through for you. We've talked about how the Angels are playing for a little something, but I think you can say the same thing for the A's. So I ultimately lean A's here, take the plus money, and hope for the best, honestly.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a fun Friday evening.
It does not. No, it does not. That is why I'm not choosing my Friday to spend my Friday watching this game. No, thank you. The next couple of games, yeah.
Let's talk about some games, some real games here. First, we head to Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, home of our guy Clint McLean, started Die Hard MMA podcast. We got the Houston Astros at Arizona Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks have kept coming at you, thanks to their pitching staff. And young Zach, well, I guess not that young anymore, but Zach Gallen going up against JP France. JP France is a pro. He's a countable pro. Zach Gallen is elite. But if you look at his last 5 starts, and I don't have them in front of me right now, but I remember 3 of them were awful, and then 2 of them he doesn't allow a run. What are we going to get here at home? Maybe if the market is any indication, it's not going to be good. This has gone from 8.5 to 9.5. So they're saying that there's high volatility between these two. Let's go over to the money line. The money line is sitting at minus 118 for Arizona. They opened up at minus 127, so we've had to move towards Houston. Now let's get over to the cash flow for this one. We have 59% of the tickets and 75% of the cash on Arizona because you want to back Gallen at home, but the line's not moving towards them. 63% of tickets, 64% of cash on the over. JP France, 11-6, 3.83 ERA, 1.36 whip, coming off a 3-2 loss at home versus the Royals. That was when he went up against Lyles and, got outpitched. I don't know if outpitched is a little much, but 5 innings, 3 runs, 2 of which were earned. On the road, he's been great all year. 3.11 ERA, only allowed 7 jacks over 66 2/3, 252 opponents batting average. Then we have Zach Gallen, who's coming off a spectacular performance at Yankee Stadium. And now he's where he wants to be, at home at Chase. 12-2, 2.45 ERA, 113 strikeouts over 95 2/3, 7 home runs allowed in 95 2/3, 227 opponents batting average. Astros are smashing righties, 291, 884 OPS, while the Diamondbacks versus righties just 228, 682 OPS. The Astros had a day off yesterday to, refuel. They had that great series in Seattle where they showed their mettle after not looking good against, Royals and the A's. Both bullpens have been elite. First off, are you surprised? Oh, is it possible? Could the roof be open? Why would this? Let me just see.
I'm assuming it's hot, exceedingly.
Yeah, so am I, but why would this roof, why would this total be? Is it gotten cooler down there? Yes, it is. The roof is open. There you go. Of course. The roof is open tonight and tomorrow night. Wow. It's closed on Sunday at 12, but it is open tonight. Well, that explains some of it. Rand says Gallen will struggle. Take it away, Jose. Chase Field, big game.
Yeah, honestly, I was surprised to see that the Astros are underdogs here. I would take the Astros here. They obviously have much bigger things to play for. They're a game up on the Seattle Mariners. Need to keep them away. Obviously, Arizona's a game and a half up on Miami, who, again, I cannot believe that the Cubs are on the outside looking in right now. But honestly, if I had to pick a side here, I'd take the Astros. The line movement for the total makes me feel like Gallen might get touched up a little bit. Has not seen Los Astros before. And as Sharpie mentioned, the Astros are good at hitting high velocity pitchers. And though Gallen's not throwing 100 consistently like Hunter Green, he still throws hard. So I like the Astros. I'm probably not going to make a move on it because the AOS has fucking no mercy on my soul, Jim. No mercy. Just been sandpapering me all throughout the week, I should say. Not even the year, the week.
I want Zach Gallen here. So let's bring on Sharpie. I know he wants to talk Rangers, Mariners, but I must hear his thoughts on Zach Gallen. And before we bring him on, let's just say that nobody has been hotter in September. And it's a long season. And the analytics and the hard work that you put into baseball, it can start weighing on your shoulders near the end of the year. And he has dominated in September, and he's had a spectacular season. And I hope you guys are watching The Walking Dead because we're very proud of that show here at Pub Sports Radio. Now, let's bring him on. Please welcome Sharpie to the show. Sharpie, how are you, my friend?
Hold on. I want to let Sharpie bring himself on. He's got producer skills. He can do this. Sharpie's got those skills. Come on, Sharpie. I believe in you, Sharpie. God. Oh, there we go. Hold on. I got you.
Now I got to press the button, dude?
Yeah, what the hell, Jose?
Hey, well, he's got producer skills. He's got it.
No.
I was literally typing up Zach Gallen, as you guys were going. So, I mean, I'm here, bro. My thing is right here with Zach Gallen and JP France is JP France has been past his innings limit. If you look at his last 6 games, he's only gone 6 innings, one of his 6 games, where the 18 prior, he went 13 of the 18 games. So, they're going to have to go 5 into the bullpen, and not saying Astros bullpen sucks. We know they're elite until Montero decided to shit the bed 2 days ago. They didn't allow a hit, I believe, for 19 straight innings. So it might be an Astros live spot once it goes to the pin, but to say that the Astros are playing for more than the Diamondbacks is a little far-fetched. The Diamondbacks got to fucking win too. The Cubs are a half game back of them right now. I mean, they're in must-win mode. They've got their guy on the mound. I'm looking to back Zach Gallen some type of way. I look at this as a playoff game, not a regular season game. I'll throw out all the regular season stats. And, this is must-win mode. How do these coaches react? I know how Dusty Baker reacts in these modes. He's not going to have a leash on JP France as he would have a leash on Framer, as he would have a leash on Verlander. So the lineup's going to be disgusting. They don't bat Maldonado with JP France. So, I mean, the lineup is, a guy like France pitching. So I lean Gallen first 5, Astros full game.
Crystal Craig saying, tough game, hard not to back Allen first 5. He's been so good at home, but I can see the Astros winning the game. I guess the problem becomes
what I just said.
Is it too expensive? Minus 140, is that too expensive? If this was minus 120, I bet it right now.
Jeez,
what's the first 7? Because 7, you're still getting Gallen to go 6.
Yeah.
Might get a better price.
Difference.
You can also handle it the way Pimp Slap Play Today did. And that's by, moving on the first 5 minus a half. But I
was looking at Gallen's outs personally, but he's not in Houston. And he's one of the best ground ball pitchers in the game. And Houston soaks their infield. So I would have been all over Gallen really, really hard if we were in Houston. So
interesting here, Sharpie. So at Bet365, the Diamondbacks are minus 120 on the game. They're minus 135 on the first 5. They're minus 140 on the first 7.
Yeah, because you get JP France, and if he doesn't go 6, you get the worst end of the pin. They're not going to send in their hogs in the 5th and 6th. I think the 7 might be the spot.
Pimp Slap on Arizona really, really piques my interest on Gallen, but I'm not going to sit here and hum and haw. Let's get to the game that brought Sharpie to the show. T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. Texas Rangers 89-70, 39-39 on the road. Mariners 86-73, 43-35 at home. T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. That Crawford hit with 2 out. I mean, God, is that guy clutch? Is that guy everything you want in a baseball player? The answer is yes and yes. I love him. Love him. All right, let's get into the... I imagine that the roof will be closed. Yes, roof will be closed. 51 Fahrenheit at first pitch. So we know the ball doesn't travel the same with that roof closed. Let's get into the situation here. Are they going to say that the roof is closed here? No, they're not. So you know what? I guess don't quote me on that. But I would expect that 51 Fahrenheit in the West Coast that the roof would be closed. This total has gone up at Pinnacle. It went up to 8. It went up to 8 26 minutes ago. 7.5, and now it's up at 8. Let's get over to the money line here. See what we are dealing with. I am first 5. I am sorry. Let me move over to full game, and we have the Mariners sitting at minus 111. They opened up at minus 121, so we've had a 10-cent move to the Texas Rangers. And let's go into the cash flow for this one. We have 40% of the tickets and 73% of the cash on the Mariners, and the market, kind of loving every second. Now 74% now of the cash on the Mariners, but the line moving towards the Rangers. And then you have 43% tickets, 51% cash on the under, and yet this just moved from 7.5 to 8. Nate Eovaldi coming off that 9-8 win at home versus the Mariners. The Mariners touched them up. 5 earned runs in 5 innings. 3.26 ERA, 1.12 whip on the year, but they touched him up. He's been very good on the road, better than he's been at home. 6-1, 2.88 ERA, 221 opponent's batting average. And then you have Brian Wu, who got lit up in that game. These pitchers just faced each other. 3 1/3, 6 earned runs, 4 home runs. These two pitchers were on for a combined 8 1/3 and allowed 6 jacks. Wu has been much better at home than he's been on the road. 237 opponents batting average, 3.69 ERA. Rangers versus righties in September, 268-51. Mariners versus righties in September, 232, 713. Rangers bullpen continues to let them down. Crystal Craig says, hope the Rangers flush this Mariners team down a shitty toilet. There it is, right from Crystal Craig, a shitty toilet. Sharpie, take it away. Rangers, Mariners at T-Mobile.
I know I don't really pay much attention to where the money's at and whatnot, but I love when it's on the other side and it's moving the way I bet it. And let's talk my bet. I'm on Rangers first 5 minus 103. And here and why, guys, we got Nathan Eovaldi versus Wu. Wu on his first ever back-to-back in the big leagues. That's a question mark right there. We've got Wu, who's faced this team 2 times and has got baptized in both times. And we've got a very short hook on a guy if he gets hit. They're going to have to go to their bullpen early, and they've been using this bullpen way too fucking much over the last 4 days. I've been watching. I've had action in every game. They're overusing their bullpen because they have to. So as soon as Wu gets touched, he's not going to see the lineup at least the third time. They did the same thing with Miller. They're not allowing these guys see the third time through the lineup. So I do expect Wu to get touched on a little bit. Now, I expect Eovaldi to be Eovaldi. Now, I had big circles on Eovaldi and Peralta this year for bounce back years. They were fucking hurt last year, man. They weren't the guys that we knew they were. And now this year they have came back to showing us they are fucking Nathan Eovaldi and Freddie Peralta, the guys we knew. So I throw out last year's, and I have to go back 2 years ago to check out his back-to-backs. He had 2 back-to-backs. One, he got rocked, came right back with a quality start, where another one, he had a good game and finished it with a quality start as well. He had 1 back-to-back this year. He went 5 innings, gave up one back-to-back. He got smacked by the Royals. Smacked. Just like 2 years ago when he got smacked in a back-to-back. What does Nathan Eovaldi do? He fucking shows back up in the next one, and he shut him down for another 6 innings of 2 earned run baseball. So give me Nathan Eovaldi on a get back, on a back-to-back. He's shown me throughout the years that he can shut him down after getting hit. And I want to fade Wu while I'm at it.
It makes sense here. Not only is Sharpie on the Rangers first 5, but we just heard that the spreadsheet play of the day is Texas plus 105 from our guy, Ron Crawford. Shout out to Ron. We are sort of on the corner of spreadsheet and Sharpie Boulevard. Let's hear
what they did last game with this same matchup, Eovaldi. It seems they're going to back Eovaldi with Martin. So they're going to, like they did last night, they used Heaney with Montgomery. They're using 2 starting pitchers because their bullpen's so bad. So do expect Martin Perez to come in at some time.
God, I loved seeing Aroldis Chapman out there. I mean, that was just point and
Oh,
laugh. Like it just
God.
was so much fun. I love when he comes out and pitches. Like it's so much fun.
Every
Jose,
time.
take it away. Rangers, Mariners in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna end up going with the Rangers here. I'll put my blood money on the Rangers and hope they end up folding up here because I apparently can't stand the Rangers. But I love Nathan Eovaldi. He's been my favorite pitcher on the Red Sox, or was, I guess, for the last 5-6 years or whatever, over Chris Sale. Nathan was that guy. He was like dog in the playoffs. This is basically a playoff start. So I like Eovaldi as well here. So I'll double up and go first 5 full game. It really shivs me in the fucking back that the Rangers are going Eovaldi, Perez, just to give Red Sox fans a little right in the fucking spine there at the end. So I'll be rooting for the Rangers and let's just not bring out their bullpen. Let's just go, 7 innings of Eovaldi. Let's throw 3 innings of Martin Perez, 2 innings. We'll be done. Let's just get out of there nice.
A lot of love for the Rangers here. Sharpie, Rangers first 5. Jose, Rangers first 5. Ron Crawford and Jose on the Rangers full game, and Bobano on the over 7.5. Sharpie, my man, tell us a little bit about what's going to go down in an hour and 15 minutes on the Balking Dead.
You know as well as I know. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. It's the last Balking Dead of the fucking year, and we're gonna have a party, at the end of the day. I might get thrown off stream by myself because I can do it. Yeah. See y'all in an hour.
Much love, Sharpie. Man, Sharpie makes capping so much fun. All right, let's roll on to the final spot on the board for Jose and I, the final regular season game that we will cap here until playoff time. We got hockey right around the corner, basketball. Going to be fun. 10:15 p.m. Eastern. LA Dodgers 98-61, 45-33 on the road at the San Francisco Giants 78-81, 44-34 at home. We're at Oracle Park in San Francisco, California. Let's take a look at the weather here in Frisco in the Bay. 63 Fahrenheit, 14.5 miles per hour out to right field. Let's take a look at Ballpark Pal and see what the situation is. Minus 15%. Oh, sorry, that's T-Mobile, but we don't even know if the roof's going to be on or off for that one. Let's go over to, where's Oracle? Oh, not bad. Minus 19% home runs, minus 4% doubles and triples, plus 13% singles, and an even 0%. Even 0%. So, go into the line history here. The line history for this spot. Lance Lynn. Oh, big tits win going up against Lynn versus Win. Let's take a look at the total here. It's 8.5. We've had a 1 cent move towards the under. And when we go to the money line on this one, we have, I believe I've got, oh no, that is full game. Sorry. We have the Giants sitting at plus 126. They opened up at plus 127. So let's take a look at the cash flow then for this one, and even less bets on this one. 1,324 bets. 13% of the tickets, 23% of cash on the San Francisco Giants. It's 50-50 on the total, but they haven't given us any kind of money situation. Lance Lynn, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a jack, 6 Ks, 3 walks, a 3-2 extra inning win at home over the Giants. His numbers overall are bad. His numbers on the road are bad. You could split them up and see that his numbers are a little bit better in Los Angeles, but not that much better. There's Jose back with us. Keaton Wynn, on the other hand. Let's talk about young Keaton Wynn. 25 years old, picked in the 5th round of the draft out of Iowa Western Community College. He was with Sacramento in the PCL League. Now, he was 0-6, but he wasn't that bad. 4.81 ERA. Now a 1.59 whip. Nothing to write home about. 66 strikeouts in 58 innings, but also 26 walks. If you go back to 2022, that was a single A to high A to double A, and he was decent, but nothing more than decent. In major leagues this year, he's been, okay. 1-2, 3.89 ERA, 1.03 whip. I guess that's better than okay. That's really good. He's only allowed 3 home runs in 37 innings. His last start, though, 9-5 loss at the Rockies, 4 innings, 3 earned runs. Now it's a thin air. You can give him the excuse for that. At home, he's thrown 18 innings. He's allowed 2 home runs. At home, he's got 18 strikeouts and 1 walk. Dodgers versus Giants, 281, 816 OPS. Dodgers versus righties, 281, 816 OPS. Giants versus righties, 222, 703 OPS. And the Dodgers bullpen's been elite right now. Take it away here for us, Jose Bouquet, our final regular season game that we capped this season. Dodgers, Giants at Oracle. You got to look.
No, it's a disgusting ball game. Almost. What's more disgusting, this matchup or Lance Lynn's tits? Who knows? I'll do
the tits.
I think I'll do the investigative reporting one day, and I'll ask him myself. And
Just-
by the way, Kong's Clips really wants us to know that there's been an arrest in the Tupac murder just now,
What?
apparently. So that he.
Oh my God!
What? Your genuine what there was really good. That was almost as genuine when I told you that Chris Rocks or Will Smith got slapped or whatever the fuck happened the other day.
I went home.
Hilarious.
I went home. I was so drunk. I was in San Antonio. I went home. I watched it over and over on a loop 100 times. I could not. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, this didn't just happen. This couldn't have just happened. This could not.
Yeah, I told you, and it looked like your face dropped, and it looked like I just told you that your bet just lost. It was really funny.
Well, Chris Rock is someone that I love, and for that fucking clown Will Smith to slap him in the face.
Did you watch his stand-up after? Was it any good? Because I obviously didn't watch it, but
I did watch it, or most of it. He's a great comic. Everything he does is good.
Okay, fair enough. Lance Lynn here. I don't want to trust him here on the road, especially. It's just one of those cases in the last few weeks. Maybe I've been just taking too many dogs, but I've been rolling with dogs here, especially because both these teams don't really have anything to play for. Maybe the rivalry gets them, going a little bit. But I don't think so. I think Dodgers are in full, let's just get to the playoffs mode, and we'll see who face. So, gun to head, give me the Giants, but nothing.
Yeah, I guess, I get a gun to head, take Keaton win here. I guess, I guess Keaton win would be the look, but I don't know if the risk reward is worth it here. And it's football time, man. Hockey and basketball right around the corner. Although we're going to smash the playoffs, but that's a lot more fun to talk about games that matter. Jose, stick with me while we put a bow on this show. Joe looking at backing the Giants. I don't dislike it. All right, let's review all action. We have the spreadsheet play today on the Texas Rangers at plus 105. Bobano is on the... Oh, I didn't tweet it out, did I? I didn't tweet it out, the stupid football game. I tried to, but I wrote it wrong. It's still 7.5. Something doesn't feel right. Why is this not moving? JP just says Dodgers don't give a fuck about this game. So I don't understand why it's not moving, but I did bet it. I just haven't tweeted it out. So we did move on to Bombers minus 7.5, minus 110. So... there you go. Bobano's on the over 47.5 in Saskatchewan, BC. But why would this total be so low? It doesn't make sense. And I said that about the Ticats Argos total that went under. I've said it about a few different spots here when something doesn't make sense in CFL, but sometimes the totals have not made sense and it's soared over like it did with the Redblacks Roughriders game that Slatsy was all over. So. He's also on the over 47.5 in Alouettes Redblacks. I'm on the Redblacks. He's on Hamilton minus 120. I guess I'll tweet out. I think I'm going to move on the under in Calgary Hamilton. So I'll tweet that out with the the Bombers minus 7.5. Bobano's on Louisville minus 3 in the over 55. He stayed off Utah, Oregon. He's on La Tech plus 1.5 minus 114. And he stayed off Bearcats, BYU. I've been really strict about my action in college football, and I expect to reap the rewards. 2-0 last night. Only 5 bets, including last night, on the whole card. And I added Western Michigan. Western Michigan, to me, is the best bet. So it's not just a bet. I like it a lot. I like the first 5 under in Marlins Pirates. I'm going to roll with that one. That was a Sharpie look. Bobano's on the over 8.5 in Guardians Tigers. Jose's on the Red Sox first 5. Bobano's on the Red Sox first 5 and full game. Bobano's on the over 7.5 in Rays, Jays, Phillies, Mets stayed off. Bobano's on the over 10 in Nats, Braves, Padres, White Sox stayed off. I'm going to add the Cubs first 5. Bobano's on the Cubs first 5 and full game. I guess I'm going to add the Kansas City Royals, which I did not expect to do. I guess I'm going to add the Royals. Twins, Rockies, no movement. Bobano is on the Reds at minus 115. A's, Angels, no action. Pimp slap play today is Arizona first 5 minus a half, minus 105. I'm going to get involved. I just don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I might try and see if I can get it below minus 135 on that first 5 and take the money line. I know it's a safe way of handling things, but Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is Texas. Sharpie's on the Rangers first 5. Jose's on the Rangers first 5 in full game. Bobano's on the over 7.5 minus 120. We stayed off Dodgers, Giants. This has been and Ron Crawford says, I guess I'll take a loss on yesterday's play today. It's a interesting thing. I've got to look into it a little more, Ron, before we do that. This has been the least amount of sleep that I've had in a week. And it's funny because the losses were making me not sleep. And then the wins were keeping me up capping all night. So it's been a weird, strange week, but you guys have stood by us. Oh, and the spreadsheet play today in college football is Louisville minus 155. You guys make this show so special. You guys in the chat and supporting us, and the transparency that we have here is at times really, really embarrassing. And
Sorry, I'm laughing at Pimp Slap saying that he was voted on DK, but his local took it that cheap break. Oh, fuck.
Joe says, what is thoughts on sprinkling on select hitters live at bat results? If you've put in a ton of study, then it's all good. Eagles money line spread says tired of losses. We want winners. Well, Jose and I went 9-0 yesterday, so maybe you tuned in on the wrong day. Eagles money line spread. We apologize for that. 9-0 we went yesterday. Good God, that felt good. Eagles money line spread. Don Play, Joe, Andrew G, Jeffrey Moore, Coin, Ron Crawford, the Nuke Worker, Jay Peasy, Leonard Porsche Jr., Joe, Rocco Rogers, Mr. Loyalty Records, Kong's Clips, Harold Williams, Craig Wood. Thank you guys. Alfred 44, Tori Coker, Moore Poncho, JT Eel, Rem Most, Sammy Calmer. Thank you guys. Thank you all. Crystal Craig. Thank you guys for all that you put into the show. Michael Johnson. I wish I could give all you guys a shout out because you all deserve one. Mike Wilkerson, Rants, Red Girl, Gifted Cartel, Saturated, Akbar Saloev. All you guys, thank you so much. What a battle. What an intense battle this is from day to day, man. And yesterday was absolutely glorious. Absolutely glorious. Except for the Sam Houston State, which I deserve to cash. And then cashing the Orioles division, Jose. I
remember when you made the bet. I was on screen with you. I was talking up the Orioles. Yeah. The
pressure just lifted off me, and glorious. Absolutely.
I have to pay my bookie next week, so I want to throw myself off a balcony.
I don't. Other way around here. But things can change in a hurry. Things can change in a hurry.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend though. It's gonna be a fun weekend. Obviously, we've got college football show Saturday. Nadu and Pete Loshek. By the way, Pete might be underwater right now. Who the fuck knows? Because all I see is just flooding everywhere in New York right now. So
he did put out the video. Did you see his video?
I did see. I didn't watch it all. I did see 30 seconds of Pete standing outside in a birthday pic. I did see that. That was quite funny.
Not only everything cashed, I say my birthday pic cashed plus 117. The Royals plus a half, and first five plus a half, and I didn't need the plus a half, but whatever, I did it anyways.
Well, that means Nufflush probably got Skylar a really good gift.
Yeah, and shout out to Skylar. Happy 14th birthday to Skylar Allen. All right.
It's pretty fucked up that you guys didn't mention anything about me growing up. You know, I was expecting baby pictures of me on Twitter that you posted, but you know.
From what? Sorry, I'm not.
Nufflush posted a lovely post on Twitter. She's like, "Oh man, Skylar growing up, a bunch of pictures of Skylar when in her. I thought you were gonna do that for me, and you were gonna post a bunch of baby pictures of us."
I really let us down.
It's all right.
really
At least
love
we
it.
have this picture. We'll always have this picture, Jim. We'll always have this picture.
That is true. We will always have that picture, and unfortunately, we'll always have this picture too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And
But-
and even more unfortunately.
Oh no, don't do it. I don't want. I don't know why you.
This.
Oh God, that's just horrible.
This
No,
is fan made. How
no,
can I
get
take
it
this
off.
away? We
Get
didn't
it
make
off. Let's get
this.
that off. I need that off. We'll stick with that right there. Stick with
I
that.
didn't make that either.
Why did you take out all the old women?
Because we need space.
No, man. That's fucking bullshit.
We need space, unfortunately. The oldies had to go.
But you kept the Brokeback Cowboy picture that was
Yeah,
sent?
I didn't make again.
Who
Fan
sent it?
art.
Who sent it?
I don't remember. I don't remember. But I remember I didn't make it. It was fan art. Who am I, Jimmy, to take something that someone made for us, Jim, and throw it in the garbage? Who am I? Look at it. It's beautiful.
Oh God.
Oh, I can't get my mouth around that thing. Oh,
Let's
Fuck.
call it a day. Let's call it a day.
Is he in the ditch?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer. I have no idea what happened to him. But you know,
Ditch.
it's tough. Our streams are tough, our horse streams, because we're betting every race.
Sure.
And so if you need, like, if I bet $30 a race, and how many races do we bet during? I don't know. What do you want to say? 80, 85 races. So, if you don't have the bankroll for that, it's just not fun being a part of it, because you just watch other people going through these highs and lows, and you give up picks and you don't bet. So it's tough. It's tough. Noli knows in the house. Good luck to you, my friends. I have no Pimp Slap. I've got the whole family outside there now, and
Yeah, he's Dr. Saucy.
I also have to go. I have to go drive and pick up Ella from school. So I can't. So no, that's not gonna happen. Sorry, I gotta.
Fair enough.
No,
Fair enough.
Sorry, I do the dad that stinks of booze. Well, picking up this, not gonna.
Well, Sunday though.
Sunday's different.
Sunday, and you're going to Woodbine tomorrow.
I am.
It is. It's gonna be a stinky Jimmy the Bag. Who's your designated? Do I smell bad person in your
mom.
family?
My mom.
Okay, okay, because I'm the one in San Antonio, so I need to know. I need to know.
I stink. Oh,
yeah. Do I? Can you just sniff me a bit? Can you tell me if I stink?
Do I stink?
And when you tell me that, that's how I know you're fucking obliterated at that point. Just demolished. Can't even smell himself anymore.
Yeah, that happens, man. Happens to the best of us. All right, go out there and get that cash, you guys. Thank you for and Utah, Oregon State under from Mr. Noli knows. Utah, Oregon State under. Thank you
That's
for everything.
That does stink.
Jose, thank you also for everything, all the hard work you do and all the hard work you put in. Thank you, my friend. All right, let's go out there and get that cash. On behalf of all of us here at Pop Sports Radio, thank you for watching. Now let's go out there and continue on from where we left off last night, where we cashed and cashed and cashed and cashed and cashed and cashed. And I got my Leche shirt. Have you seen this shirt before, Jose?
No.
Leche shirt right there. Fucking Leche.
That does kind of look like semen, but I do like it.
No, it does. It does. That's why I don't wear it often.
I do like that.
I don't wear it out in public. Everyone's like,
You
what's
should.
what's going on?
Someone do like this and a lot of cream, little white substances. I like that.
Oh man, I need rest. I need rest badly. All right, let's fucking go. Let's go. Leche! Hey, Los Bookmakers, milk that.
I can't get my mouth around that thing. Oh.